traffic, and the latest from the world of sports. This is Rush Hour Sports on 104.1 FM KMOX.
Good to be with you guys on a Wednesday night here on Rush Hour Sports on KMOX. Matt Pauley, Kevin Wheeler with you, obviously, till the top of the hour. Matt's got sports up online following that. Lot to run around with today. We got some baseball, little hockey, maybe a crossover?
Maybe.
With some baseball and hockey?
Maybe.
Should be some fun to do that.
We did that when Coach Montgomery talked about injuries.
Yeah, we did.
Yes.
We did that. Yep. We brought that up, and that was a really good conversation.
It was.
And we'll continue to do, and then, that conversation also came up somewhat when you were talking to Chaim Bloom.
It did.
A little slightly different version of it, but It was the same idea.
Yeah.
And I thought Chaim's answer to that when you were doing Sports on a Sunday was really good.
It's good to, hear it acknowledged.
Yeah, right. And also, he said, sometimes it's something you kind of have to do.
Right.
But other times, maybe not so much. So, it's something they can re-examine as they move forward. So, we're going to do a little bit of everything in that regard today. Little Blues, little hockey, a little crossover of those two. I'm sorry, little Blues, little baseball, little hockey, little crossover between the Blues and the Cardinals that you'll understand when I explain it. And obviously some World Series mixed in with all of that. Let's start with the World Series topic, and I think I'm going to tie it to the Cards because I think there are some interesting things that are parallel tracks with the topic. I was listening to MLB Network Radio this morning. I love Mike Farron and Jim Duquette. They're awesome. I listen to Power Alley every day, and Mike's a regular guest here on the station with you.
Yep.
He's one of my buddies. I've known him for a long time. He's the guy that actually helped me get hooked up with MLB Network Radio. At late 2019, early 2020, which is why I was doing so much stuff with them in and around COVID times. So always appreciate Mike for that. He's a good dude. And they were having the conversation today with Boog Shambi, who's doing the play-by-play of the World Series for ESPN Radio. Yeah, and they could be brothers, by the way. A couple of redhead dudes. Like the three of us, we could be like the three Stooges as Gingers. Although I've only met Boog once. I don't know him very well.
I've talked to him a couple times.
Yeah.
If I fell down dead in front of him, I don't think he'd know who I was.
Yeah. But I've had him as a guest, but I don't think I've ever met him. Or I met him one time.
He's awesome, though.
Yeah, he's a good dude.
Yeah.
And a good broadcaster.
Yes.
Really good broadcaster. Anyway, he was on as a guest today. And I want to tie this into some Cardinals conversation, probably not right away, but as we go. And if you want to add anything, by the way, as we're going along, as always, the stream is running. Comments are up. So if you're on Facebook, YouTube, or Twitter, feel free there. You can text 314-436-7900 as well. But Mike Farron asked an interesting question to Boog today that I wanted to bring up to you, and then we'll get some reaction from anybody else that wants to get in on it. And I'm going to paraphrase, and I'm going to shorten this because I don't want it to be too long of an explanation before we get to the meat of the topic. And the question was along the lines of, why does so much of the conversation around the World Series and around baseball in general, why does it more reflect stories that we like to tell as opposed to evidence that we can measure, right? So using this World Series, the specific question was about the Blue Jays. And there's been a lot of buzz about the Blue Jays on pregame, postgame shows, on MLB Network Radio, on MLB Network, in print too, about how they put the ball in play. And the difference for them and why they're good is because they put the ball in play and they take a tough at-bat, which they do, by the way. Mm-hmm. They do a good job of that. But I think that's always been true of good teams, right? Yes. I think that's true of good teams in general. But, and this is where Boog, because when Farron asked the question, Boog laughed a little bit, and he's like, have you followed baseball coverage at all in recent years? Because it always becomes more narrative, more story, more of that than reality. And I think that happens with Cardinals conversations, too, quite a bit. We have those conversations for 9 months out of the year as we're going along. And then he went on to say, yeah, they do that, but they've also scored more than 50% of their runs on home runs. So they're hitting home runs, which is a key thing. And then they went through a lot of the stuff, right? Like when you don't homer in the regular season, you lose 75% of the time when you don't homer. And in the postseason, you lose 85% of the time when you don't homer. You win when you out-homer your opponent in the playoffs. You win 82% of the time. So they went through all of that to get through it. And Boog said something that struck me, and this is the point. He's like, it's strange that the story, the narrative, the whatever is still so prominent in a time where we can actually see what's happening.
Yeah.
And measure it and mete it out in so much detail. I don't get it either.
Okay, it's actually, to me, it's a really easy answer. It's a really easy answer. Baseball, probably more so than any other sport, has changed the way it is played. Like, we value the things that need to happen to win games more in a different way now than we did previously. And in some ways, it's actually hurt the game because it's not as aesthetically pleasing with some of the stuff that you need to do now that you know is going to produce more wins. There are people out there that romanticize so much the way the game was previously played. And because of that, like, facts be darned, the way they like watching baseball is going to be the most important thing. So if you loved Whitey ball and you loved a lot of speed and hit and runs and stolen bases and playing for the single run and bunting guys over, well, I don't care that the evidence clearly states that you hit home runs to win games. That doesn't matter because I liked the way the game was played this way, and because I liked it and because it was entertaining, well, then that has to be the way that baseball is played at its best. And then you pick and choose the moments that actually reflect that style of play where it works, and you use that as your evidence to say, you see, told you so. That's how you win games. Look what happened right there.
Yeah, what's fascinating to me as, I mean, I've always followed baseball incredibly closely, and like the '82 World Series, neither were my team, right? I didn't grow up a Brewers fan, didn't grow up a Cardinals fan, but it was I loved that World Series as a kid, and it's one of my favorites because they were so different.
You bring this up all the time, Kevin. Yeah, it's one of the things we've lost in baseball because we know.
No, everybody's the same.
We
now.
know too much.
Yeah.
We know too much.
Yeah.
So when we didn't have all this data back in the day, well, every single team could have their own different identity, and it was so much fun.
Yeah.
That can't exist now because we know the equations now to win games.
Right, and the reason I wanted to bring it up, and we'll go deeper into the Cardinals part of this too, because as you mentioned, we do this a lot. I think a lot of it is because the adults who cover sports, and by the way, fans too. I'm not just talking about media. I'm talking about adults talking sports, social media, corner bar, with your buddies, whatever. We're all of the age where we saw that happen. So it informs our memory, but we don't move past it. But we also don't acknowledge or remember or point out, I think it's more remember than anything else, that there were teams that played small ball back then who didn't win jack squat.
Yeah.
It's not the style of play. It's the players and the people at that time that were better than the other people in the sport. The Cardinals under Whitey, it wasn't just the style of play that made them better. They had a great style of play. It was a lot of fun. But other teams tried to do those things. They just didn't have good enough players to do it.
Yeah, but you
small ball lost a lot of games back in the day, too.
I mean, specifically, you look to some of those rosters that the Cardinals had and at the greatness of Whitey ball.
Yeah.
And just the line, the depth of the lineup where you never got a break and guys could do dynamic things. That's why they won the games, because of the players.
Yeah, because they had depth that other teams didn't have. They had pitching that other teams didn't have. And again, this is not to diminish it, because I love that. In fact, that was the best thing about that era, was you had Whitey Ball and you had Billy Ball in New York, which was a version of Whitey Ball. It had a little more power to it, but you had Earl Weaver's style of managing, and you had Sparky Anderson's. And Sparky was kind of a middle-of-the-road, little bit of everything guy. Then you had Harvey Keene in Milwaukee, Harvey's Wallbangers. You had a bunch of dudes just like they would be fit now.
Yeah.
Like a bunch of dudes just hit dingers.
And the like, having lived in Milwaukee for a while, just the personality of that team, where those guys were known to go out and sit at the tailgates before and after games and have beers with fans.
That was the era. Yeah. Is that team romanticized as much in Milwaukee as Whitey Ball is here?
No.
I know they didn't win the World Series. And you think that's why?
I don't know. I do not know, but no, it absolutely is not.
Just curious.
Yeah.
I mean, winning championships does that. And also, again, this is something that, when we look at, the passage of time, it's okay to love something and understand the world changed, right? People in football used to love all the slobber knocker hits, the deke leaders. They're mostly gone, and we took them out because we know it's bad for the health of the players, but yet people still love football. It's changed, but people still love football.
The one thing I would also say, like, in comparing the two, like when we think about the Cardinals, so many we can refer back to Bob Gibson and Lou Brock and Ted, like just a million guys Where, with all due respect to Milwaukee, they have Robin Yount and Paul Molitor.
No, that's true. That's right. Those other guys had other stops and other things going on. Closing out this segment, Keith on the looks like Keith's on Facebook said Jack Clark home run, Ozzie home run, Pujols, Freeze. Some of the biggest moments were home runs. We might not have won otherwise. Yeah. Not to say that you relied on it. Right now, the game now is more reliant upon them. Where I think with Whitey Ball and the '82 Cardinals, and but yeah, look at the '06 Cardinals. They hit dingers.
They did.
2011 Cardinals had a lot of power in that lineup. Really interesting comparison there. All right, we're going to keep up with a little bit of this kind of thing about the modern Cardinals and the reality versus some of the storylines. And I want to bring the Blues into this a little bit as we go along, too. Feel free to join us on the chat. Feel free to text 314-436-7900. It's Rush Hour Sports on KMOX.
Hey guys, Glover here for my friends at Cantor Injury Law. So as you know, I'm a lawyer, haven't practiced in a long time, but I did plaintiff's work and defense work, so I have a pretty good understanding of it. I have a pretty good idea of who's who in the firmament of plaintiffs' attorneys. And for my money, Mark Cantor is the guy. He's a great attorney. He is a great practitioner. He's put together a great team. He was born and raised here. He lives here. He works here. He wins here. Call 314-628-ALL-9s or CantorInjuryLaw.com. The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based on advertising.
I hear from sellers all the time that they fear they have missed out on the selling market. They are so relieved to learn September, October, and November are strong selling months. With low inventory and hopefully lower interest rates, this fall will be a hot one for real estate. I'm Christina Straight, owner of Straight Realty. You may have heard me say, why pay more than for years? Now it's why pay more than 2, saving you even more money. Call me 314-441-4444. And remember, why pay more than 2?
Straight Realty is a licensed broker in the state of Missouri, Kansas, and Nevada.
I'm Ed Evans, CEO of Consumer Cellular. Ever wonder why Big Wireless wants you on an unlimited plan? They probably want you to cover the cost of those 20-somethings using all that data every month. But most people 50 and up like me only use 12 gigs or less. Don't get bamboozled by Big Wireless. Switch to Consumer Cellular. Our plans start at just $20, and we use the same towers as the big guys. Join the millions who choose something better, because if you're not using all that data, you're probably getting used.
Call 1-888-FREEDOM, visit consumercellular.com/fax or a store near you. Plans include $5 credit for auto pay and e-billing. See site for additional facts.
Hey, I'm Mike Slater. My dad passed away at the age of 63. It's out of nowhere. Had a stroke. Super hard, obviously, for the whole family, but my dad had life insurance. This is why I have life insurance for my family, for my wife and 4 kids. And the best place to get life insurance is ethos.com, because you can do it in 10 minutes. And there's no medical exam and no blood test, just a few health questions. Get life insurance in 10 minutes so your family is protected. Ethos, ETHOS, ethos.com/life.
I'm Tom Ackerman with this month's Siteman Cancer Center Spotlight. We are discussing breast cancer with Dr. Debbie Bennett.
It makes a big difference who's actually interpreting the mammogram images that you get. We make sure that we have an expert team of breast radiologists that specialize in reading mammograms to be sure that we can get you the most accurate read possible.
Thanks to Siteman Cancer Center, national leaders in cancer. For more information, visit siteman.wustl.edu.
Save big on everything for your next project when you shop at Menards. Insulate your home and save on energy costs. Owens Corning Pink Foamular insulation panels are moisture resistant and can be used anywhere, including walls, attics, and basements. Foamular insulation panels are available in multiple sizes to fit your project. Visit Menards.com to shop all foam board insulation. Plus, check out the weekly flyer for great deals happening this week.
Save big money at Menards.
The Woodlands of Arnold campus offers skilled rehab, a beautiful assisted living community, and a secure memory care to keep your loved ones safe. Check us out at rspseniorliving.com. That's rspseniorliving.com.
Traffic from the MichaelsFlooringOutlet.com Traffic Center.
Well, this traffic report's a service of the Woodlands of Arnold Senior Living. The highways are not bad. Downtown, we still have congestion both ways. Westbound more so than eastbound. Westbound's a jam. Eastbound's a slowdown. 44 between the bridges. 70 both ways, still delays between 270 and the Blanchette, although that's just slow going. Westbound 64, you're still backed up. Boyle headed out through Clayton Skinkers, slow to Big Bend. After that, it's slow from Boone's Crossing through Long Road, a little busy west of K, midway to Winghaven, then you're home free. Eastbound 64 is still heavy. Lindbergh into Big Bend. South 170 backs up at Delmar. South 270, 364 down to Ladou's heavy. Both sides of Manchester slow, 44 to Gravois and approaching Tesson Ferry, a little heavy there. Northbound 170, 70 up to Airport Road's busy. Southbound 55, a little slow, Gasconade Bates. And Telegraph from Forder down through a Jaeger looks pretty congested. I'm Roger Brand in the Michaels Flooring Outlet.com Traffic Center.
This is Rush Hour Sports on 104.1 FM KMOX.
All right, Wednesday on Rush Hour Sports, Matt Pauley, Kevin Wheeler hanging out with you till 6 o'clock, and that's when Sports Open Line kicks off today. Obviously, did a little baseball there. Normal game last night.
Yeah.
But a really well played game by the Blue Jays. I'm really happy that we're getting at least 6.
I'm just getting it back to Toronto. It feels like a series.
I will be happiest if Toronto wins.
I would too.
I don't want LA to win. I mean, mostly because when they put everything together where the only version of success is a World Series win, I love it when they have to eat the loss.
That's true. That is true. And I've always been somebody that there can be like different levels of success, but in the Dodgers,
I'm with you. Yeah.
They don't present it that way.
No, they present it as it's win it all. And I know that I'm not sure when that started, but it's a weird thing to me with a sports fan to look at a team, any team, and I feel this way about all the teams I've ever rooted for. That there are still really damn good seasons when you don't win a title, but somehow, some way, within the last 20 years, this mindset crept in that the only success is a championship, which is so silly.
Yeah, I mean, again, we've mentioned the Brewers a couple times on this show already. That was a really successful season for them, and they're not in the World Series. And if that fan base, and admittedly, they're at a point now where it feels like they've done this before, and they haven't gone on the playoff run of the World Series, but they had more wins than anybody in baseball. If you want to diminish that because they didn't get to the World Series, I can't be on that train.
Yeah, now it's not the ultimate success, right? I mean, we have levels of success. Exceeding expectations would be one level of success. Being a postseason team would be one level of success. Advancing in the postseason is one level of success. Winning it all is the ultimate success. And think of it this way. Would you ever evaluate yourself as it's all or nothing?
No.
And if you evaluate yourself that way, why aren't you the billionaire owner of the team that you're rooting for? Hey, no excuses. You win and that's it. All that counts is winning. And if you're not winning, you're a loser. I mean, we don't hold ourselves to that standard because it's ridiculous.
Ricky Bobby was not correct.
Yeah, second place isn't first loser,
right, yeah.
unless it's only a 2-person race. Yeah. In that case, you are the only loser. I think a lot of that has come from sports talk. As a sports talk show host,
and social media,
who's been doing this? I've been doing this since the mid '90s, and I think that has been pushed by people who do what I do. I don't push that, because I think it's ridiculous. And I know the people that do it, and they don't hold themselves to that standard. Again, if they did, they would own the media outlet that they work for rather than work. Right? Or they would be running a professional sports franchise if they were that. Or they'd be billionaires because they don't accept anything but total victory. It's an attention grabber, right? And that's not new. I mean, social media, really blows that up. But it's attention grabbing, it's emotional, and it gets engagement. That kind of conversation gets engagement.
Yeah, it's something I think all of us, like you and I, and luckily we work at KMOX where we are encouraged to be thoughtful about things. That you're not encouraged in that manner at all places, and there's a reason like hot takes have become a thing. But if I have to question between being who I am and being thoughtful about things and trying to really examine things and taking a step back and looking at the whole picture, or being the opposite of that and having better ratings or something like that, like I'm stick to who I am. I can't go do that other thing.
Yeah, and thankfully though, I do think the vast majority of people in our line of work do it the right way, because most are rational human beings, and there are some that Skip Baylesses of the world who don't care about being honest. They don't care about being real. They're just going to be spectacular and hot takey because they know hot takey gets them traction on Twitter.
But eventually Skip's a great example. Eventually they cross a line where there's zero credibility and you don't have a gig anymore.
No, but they got a big paycheck.
Yeah.
And that's the sacrifice. I think but it doesn't do anybody any good to adopt the basically it's win it all or fail. Like, that's just not reasonable. You will always be miserable as a sports fan if that's your outlook. because you're not going to win all the time. And I went through this with some people on Twitter the other day with the Cardinals, right? Because people are mad. I understand, and I think justifiably mad about where the state of the franchise is now. But I don't think it's a valid complaint to be like, it's been 14 years. Okay. Before 2006, it was 24 years.
Yeah.
And before 82, it was 14 years.
Did you not
and
enjoy...
before 67, it was like 40 years.
If you did not enjoy 2022, where
Or
the team
30
came back from, they were behind the Brewers at the All-Star break. Albert Pujols went on his home
Crazy run.
Like, that was so much fun.
Yeah.
And that was so enjoyable. Did it stink that they lost that series to the Phillies? Of course it did. I can't tell you how often I go back mentally when my brain is just like sitting idle. I go back to that series. That is one of the I so wish they would have won that series, but my enjoyment of watching the 2022 Cardinals is not destroyed by the fact that they did not have a deep run in the playoffs.
No, and to close it out, I think there are valid complaints about why the team is where it is. It shouldn't be. If they had made adjustments sooner, it wouldn't be where it is right now, where you're in between and you're kind of like not sure of the full path and all that, and basically starting over with a new. You could have avoided some of that with with quicker adaptations 5 years ago.
Yeah,
right. That's a really valid criticism. The valid. It's not a valid thing to be too upset about how long it's been between titles. Some cities have no titles. For the Yankees, it's been 16 years since they have a title, and they outspend everybody.
Mm-hmm.
So the gap between championships is normal, but that doesn't mean it's okay to let your product slip. That's still valid criticism and a valid thing for fans to be upset about.
Yeah, fluky things happen in the postseason.
Yeah.
If you're a good team and you get beat in the postseason because of something fluky, I can't be overly angry about that.
That's Matt Pauley. I'm Kevin Wheeler. It's Rush Hour Sports. We're going to talk some Blues. Oh, the suckitude continued last night. We're going to talk a bit about that and kind of how there's an interesting conversation that parallel tracks with Cards and Blues where fans, I think, and they're a lot of the same people, take different paths. We'll talk about that next year on KMOX.
Looking for your dream home in Wentzville? Welcome to Sutton Farms by Lombardo Homes, where community and comfort come together. Enjoy resort-style living with a private clubhouse, indoor courts, a splash pad, sand volleyball, walking trails, and even a dog park. Choose from our newest Parkside series, or design your own custom home in our nature or traditional series, all within the top-rated Wentzville School District. Discover the perfect blend of small-town charm and modern convenience at Sutton Farms, located off Piney Road in Wentzville. Visit LombardoHomes.com to learn more.
If you owe the IRS, you have a legal issue, and you need the Lance Drury Law Firm. We'll protect your rights. Log on at LanceDruryLaw.com.
At 5:30, this news update is sponsored by Michael's Flooring Outlet, the flooring experts, michaelsflooringoutlet.com. Leaders in Operation Food Search say charities alone can't fill the gap left when food stamp benefits are cut off in a couple of days.
It's kind of hectic. We are, fielding a lot of calls, a lot of concerns, but also, thank goodness, a lot of offers for help as well.
Chief Development Officer Ellen Reed Fox tells the DGS on KMOX that programs like SNAP provide 90% of all food assistance. They'll need the public's help to fill that gap. They're holding an urgent food drive tonight at City Foundry. You can drop off donations from your car at the Roundabout Event from 5:30 till 8:30 p.m. What are they most in need of?
Proteins are always really great. Chicken, tuna, salmon. Peanut butter is always popular with everybody. The kind of canned goods that sort of make a meal, like soups, are really great. Low sodium, if you can find them, are great. Beans, rice. Also, fruits and vegetables, of course, low sugar and low sodium, if you can find those, are kind of the preference. And if at all possible, pop tops. So the ones that you don't need a can opener, you can just pull it right open.
Again, the urgent food drive is taking place right now until 8:30 p.m. at the Roundabout at City Foundry. Federal Reserve Chair Jerome Powell is tamping down further rate cut expectations. Business reporter Jason Brooks explains.
The Fed lowered its benchmark lending rate for the second consecutive meeting, but Fed Chair Jerome Powell said a third straight cut in December is far from a foregone conclusion after two members dissented this week, with recently appointed Fed Governor Stephen Miron voting for a larger half-point cut and Kansas City Fed President Jeffrey Schmid voting in the other direction for a rate pause. That cooled off a stock rally as the market has expected another rate cut at the December meeting. Powell added that the effect of tariffs on inflation will likely be short-lived, but could lead to persistent inflation.
An entire family is facing several charges that started out with a rape but escalated with 2 murders and tampering with a witness.
St. Louis County Prosecutor Melissa Price Smith says Lavore Harmon, Anthony L. Young, and his son, Anthony D. Young, are all accused of first-degree murder in the killing of a witness, Corey Warren. That rape case against Lavore Harmon was filed in May, 2 months after Warren reported the incident. Assistant Prosecutor John Schlesinger.
Lavore remains jailed on a $2 million bond. Both Anthony L. Young and Anthony D. Young are currently in federal custody on unrelated charges.
Lavore Young's sister is accused of offering the witness, Corey Warren, $12,000 not to testify in the case.
The witness in the sexual assault case was shot and killed by Andrew Klaus, who was an associate of these 3 individuals. Andrew Klaus was then later murdered.
Maria Aquina, KMOX News.
From the Saliga Heating and Cooling Weather Center for tonight, partly cloudy and low 42. For Thursday, sunshine and a high of 58. For Friday, the high 60 Friday nights. Temperatures in the upper 40s to low 50s for trick or treat. Right now it's 52, feels like 45 downtown at the Arch. I'm Michael Calhoun, KMOX News.
This is Todd Krenz with Krenz Financial Group. For over 6 decades, we've helped St. Louis families and businesses plan with purpose and live with confidence. We work closely with professionals in healthcare, from doctors and nurses to medical sales in biotech and pharma. Our team helps you navigate complex financial decisions like retirement plans, disability insurance, consolidating old 401ks, and understanding stock options or RSUs. We make the process clear so you can focus on what you do best. Your goals, our mission. Start today at kfgadvisors.com.
Securities offered through Raymond James Financial Services, Inc. Member FINRA/SIPC. Krenz Financial Group is not a broker-dealer.
Hi, it's Debbie Monterey. When I endorse a product or service on the radio, I take it very seriously and I do my research. I did that when I first met Gloria Liu with Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty more than 5 years ago. Gloria is here in studio today, so Gloria, I'll ask the same question I asked you when we first met. What sets you apart from other local agents?
Well, number one is my guaranteed offers. I'm so confident that I'll sell your home at 100% of market value, or I'll pay the difference. Number two is I already have the buyers, so your home may already be sold. I literally have thousands of buyers in my Buyers in Waiting program. This is how I'm able to create higher demand, more offers, and that means more money in your pocket.
Get to know Gloria Liu like I have. Upfront written guarantees with the least hassle. Call Gloria Liu at 314-325-6888, 314-325-6888, or GloriaHasTheBuyers.com. Gloria and seller must agree on price and possession date.
If you need a new garage door, this could be your lucky day. Entries are now open for the $5,000 sweepstakes at Overhead Door Company of St. Louis. The winner will be chosen at random to receive $5,000 towards new garage doors, openers, or front entry doors of their choice. Deadline to enter is the end of the month to win the $5,000 sweepstakes with Overhead Door Company of St. Louis. Enter now at overheaddoorsstlouis.com. You can't win if you don't enter at overheaddoorsstlouis.com.
Sponsored by Progressive. We make the claims process easy so you could get back on the road in no time. It's why over 43 million drivers trust Progressive. See for yourself at progressive.com.
It's the most inspiring night in sports, the Musial Awards at Stiefel Theater. You can be in the audience for this nationally televised event from St. Louis. Named for Stan the Man, the Musial Awards celebrate those who uplift us through their extraordinary sportsmanship. Experience the remarkable moments and people that make this an event like no other. The Musial Awards, presented by Maryville University, Saturday, November 22nd. Tickets at musialawards.com.
Attention business owners with a net income over $500,000. You need to work with a tax strategist that understands your entrepreneurial mindset. Download the most recent white paper written by E3 Consultants Group titled The Power of a Professional Tax Strategy Team. Go to e3wealth.com/radio to obtain a copy. It's time to learn about wealth and tax strategies that protect your personal and business economy. E3 is ready to help you think differently about your finances. Educate, empower, enlighten. That's the E3 difference.
It's the Medicare Advantage annual enrollment period, and Humana knows not everyone has the same needs when picking a Medicare Advantage plan.
Now that I'm retired, I want to enjoy the life I've worked hard to build. So I want a plan that covers me when I'm traveling the country.
Humana has a plan for that.
As a veteran, I want a plan that fills in the gaps my VA coverage doesn't provide, like dental care.
Humana has a plan for that.
I feel good about my health. I just want care and coverage with predictable costs. No surprises.
Humana has a plan for that. With a Humana Medicare Advantage plan, you get coverage and benefits that focus on what matters most to you. Learn more at gethumana.com. Humana, a more human way to healthcare. Humana is a Medicare Advantage HMO and PPO organization with a Medicare contract. Enrollment in any Humana plan depends on contract renewal.
For residential and commercial heating repairs, service, maintenance, or installation, contact Air Comfort Service Heating, Cooling, and Installation. With over 50 years of HVAC service, get in your comfort zone this winter. Visit aircomfortservice.com. That's aircomfortservice.com.
Debt payments keeping you up at night. Credit cards, medical bills, personal loans, it can all add up and feel impossible to keep up. If you owe $10,000 or more in unsecured debt, J.G. Wentworth may be able to help you and put you on the path to freedom in as little as 24 to 48 months. Imagine one affordable monthly payment instead of juggling multiple bills and creditors. We've helped thousands of people cut their debt by up to 50% before fees, and we don't get paid unless we reduce your debt. The more you owe, the more you could save. Call 877-CASH now. The call is free, the consultation is free, and there's no obligation to sign up. Call today for your free consultation. 877-CASH now. That's 877-CASH now. Don't wait. Every day you delay could cost you more. Call 877-CASH now today. Results vary. Not all debts qualify. Debt resolution impacts credit and may increase what you owe. Average savings before fees 43%, 25% after fees. The choice to stop paying creditors is yours. J.G. Wentworth does not pay debts or provide legal, tax, or credit repair services.
Sponsored by the St. Louis Zoo. Don't miss Boo at the Zoo at the St. Louis Zoo. Enjoy festive Halloween decorations, zoo attractions, and animals, including the zoo's newest resident, Charlie the Komodo Dragon. Boo at the Zoo runs nightly from 5 to 8:30 p.m. and ends on October 30th. Get tickets now at stlzoo.org.
Traffic from the michaelsflooringoutlet.com traffic center.
Well, if you're traveling home on westbound Highway 70, it looks pretty good. Just a little busy around Jennings Station, and then after that, just a little slow through Zumbel. Eastbound 70, still a little volume around our city where we had that earlier crash. Southbound 170 is backed up from Ladue to 64. Eastbound 64, just east of McKnight to Big Bend's heavy. Westbound 64 is still bogged down from Kings Highway running out through McCausland. It's a little slow at the Boone Bridge, and it's slow again from 94 to a point west of K. There's a crash on the shoulder there, so traffic's just slowing the way by looking at it. South 270 a little busy approaching Ladue, and briefly south of 44. Southbound 55 is pretty well cleared out all the way down to Festus, and the rest of the highways westbound 44 just a little crowded past the Poplar. And northbound 170, Scudder up to Airport Road, still busy. I'm Roger Brand at the michaelsflooringoutlet.com traffic center.
This is Rush Hour Sports on 104.1 FM KMOX.
All right, diving back in on Rush Hour Sports. Matt Pauley, Kevin Wheeler with you here. And, well, let's talk some Blues. We did this last night, and this is, to me, we can bring this. This is going to be some little crossover conversation with Blues and Cardinals. But first up, the specific Blues stuff where it's just not getting any better. Another awful performance last night. You pointed out the numbers yesterday, and we can add another one to it. But now it's like all of the regulation losses have been a case where they've allowed 5 or more goals.
And have lost by at least 3.
And at least last night wasn't a blown lead. I guess would be one way to look at it.
They were up 1-0.
Yeah, no, but I mean, like 1-0. It's not like blowing a 4-0 lead.
Okay, but it's still a blown lead.
Yeah, I guess that's fair. By definition, it is. It's the third straight year, as we pointed out yesterday, the third straight year that they've gotten off to a terrible start. Actually, fourth if you count the 22-23 season, but that was a bad year.
Yeah.
Last year, they rebounded after the coaching change. The year before, they rebounded after the coaching change. There isn't going to be a coaching change this year.
No.
Jim Montgomery's got a 5-year deal. He just got here. Doug Armstrong basically laid that out when he hired Jim Montgomery. Like, look, the coach is not going to be take the blame moving forward. So there's plenty of time. Like I said, we've seen this group of players start crappy. Now, this will be the 4th year in a row. 2 of the 3, they turned it around. But as we know they can. We know they're capable of playing better. And I will definitely give it time. I wrote off the 2019 team. I won't make that mistake again because they went out and won a cup. But if it doesn't turn this year, you've got to clean some house.
Yes.
I don't know how, because that's the hard part. Because they have a lot of no-trade clauses. All of their big contracts have no trade clauses. Braden Shen's got a no trade, and not that he's the problem, but those are the type of players you're going to move, right? Moving a third liner is not going to change anything. Moving Buchnevich isn't happening with that contract. Cam Fowler can turn it around. He's been awful this year. And, you gave a 36-year-old a 3-year contract. So there's a lot
Speaking of comparing to the Cardinals.
Yeah, that's a good point. The Cardinals and Blues have both gotten into the habit of giving old players too many years and too much money for those years. Yeah, good point. Good call.
It is, by the way, now 37 goals in their 6 regulation losses allowed.
That's pretty bad.
That's not good.
No, pretty bad. So it can turn. We will give it time to turn. But if it doesn't, it's got to be the core. 3 straight years with 3 different coaches, 2 of whom are regarded as 2 of the best coaches in the league. Right?
Yeah, so what you have to do, and this is really hard to accept because, let's talk about Jordan Kyrou and Robert Thomas.
Yeah.
So are those the guys that you say are top of the roster, needs to be different guys than those guys?
Yeah.
Well, if you're trading them away, you're probably not trading them away for other top of the roster guys. You're basically taking a loss in the trade based off talent, and you're trying to build the top of the roster in another way, whether it's all these young guys that you've got in the system that are going to come up, or all of a sudden a Jimmy Snuggerud, Dvorsky's now with the team, maybe they emerge, or you go into free agency and you find somebody.
But you got no cap room.
Well, you will if you move on from those guys.
But they all have no trade clauses.
Sure.
So we have to find we're in the Nolan Arenado situation with all of these guys. You're going to have to find a place they're going to be willing to go.
So you have to send them to a good team, and
can take the money and not give you a bad contract in return.
Right. And you lose the trade, and you're just not getting an equal value of talent back.
Right.
Or an expiring contract comes back.
That would be ideal.
Yeah.
Right. If you're talking, but good Lord. So we're not at that point yet, but we're definitely in the understanding stage. This is the 3rd straight year. Well, again, 4th straight year with one of those never turning around. And then the other 2 got turned around. But there's not going to be a change. And what I think is really interesting is if you look at a Venn diagram of Cardinals fans and Blues fans, it pretty much entirely overlaps.
Yeah.
Right? There might be a few on the fringes. There's probably more Cardinal fans that aren't Blues fans. They just don't follow hockey. Than there are Blues fans that aren't at all Cardinals fans. I think that probably, pushes more towards that. But a large percentage are the same people.
Yes.
When things are bad right now, like they are with the Blues, I don't hear anybody blaming the coach, and they shouldn't, because that's correct. This is on players. This is players with big contracts not doing their jobs. This is Colton Parayko. This is Cam Fowler. This is Buchnevich, Thomas before the injury. It's all of these guys, right? It's all of them. We all seem to get that. But yet in baseball, we want to blame the manager. I don't get.
Yeah, and also
you should be same idea, right? You should be able to understand when it's the players, when it's a roster problem or good players not playing well enough. We all should see that the same way.
Yeah, you can blame manager, coach. You can blame president of hockey operations, president of baseball operations, or you can blame the actual players. And for the Cardinals standpoint, I always thought roster construction was the number one issue.
And
the players just weren't good enough.
And right. It was weirdly constructed with too many similar pieces and not enough talent.
So with the Blues, I actually don't have a problem with the roster construction. I do have a problem with the production of the players, and I have a hard time using my words to say what I want to say here, but it's from a character standpoint, what's going on? It goes beyond talent. Everything that you just laid out, Kevin, is correct. Why is that? If it's not a talent issue and it's not a coaching issue, what's going on that's leading to these games? And I would say it goes back to how often do we see this team go on a run and then a bad team comes in and they just lay an egg against the bad team? This is not a team that has that it factor, for lack of a better term, that results in them being great.
Yeah, I think there's very clear a couple things. We knew that, look, this was not a season where anybody expected a cup run. No. Like the hope was if you have a really great year, you might finish third in the division. And the other, if not that, you hope to get a wild card spot,
and
right?
maybe win a series or two at most in the postseason.
And that would be really, though, kind of surprising.
Yes.
A playoff run would be surprising. A playoff appearance was the hope. But the understanding was that was not a guarantee. Like, I think there was a wide understanding of that, which is not that far off of the Cardinals from last year, where we knew they weren't a top contender. We knew the playoffs were kind of we knew more that was unlikely given the whole reset, runway stuff.
Yeah, the Cardinals' playoff hopes were less likely than what we viewed the Blues.
Yeah.
I think we would all agree that if the Blues are not a playoff team this year, it's a disappointment.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's so much a disappointment with the Cardinals not being a playoff team.
Yeah, and I do think it's a talent issue with the Blues. They don't have top-line players.
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
I mean, Detroit's not a great team. Their top line's way better than your top line.
Yeah, I guess, you know what? We had the conversation yesterday about Alec Burleson.
Yeah.
Hey, Alec Burleson's one of your top 1 or 2 hitters on the team, and he'd be the 6th best hitter on the Blue Jays. So let's have that conversation about the Blues. Robert Thomas, is he your best player on the team?
I think so. Like, when you think about all things and consistency and all that, yeah.
Okay, so
he and Kyrou probably.
So if you put Thomas on the Colorado Avalanche, is he their third line center?
Yeah.
There you go.
I mean, maybe second line, depending, on circumstance. So I do think it's a talent issue. It got sped up. See, last year before the year, I thought it was a real problem. I thought this roster was a major problem. Turns out it wasn't as major as I thought because the additions of Broberg and Holloway elevated the roster.
Yeah.
And they were big additions. And they still are. Broberg's playing great. I think he's been one of the few guys on the team playing well.
He and Jake Neighbors are basically it.
Yeah, and Neighbors is now out for a month plus. So I do think it's a roster thing, and I think it's interesting that with one team, we are very cognizant of that fact, and we see it, and we understand it, and that's where the blame is correctly going. And with the other team, that just is harder, and I don't know why. And I do know why. I have a theory that I want to float at you.
Okay, I have a theory too. So
we'll float our theories. We'll float our theories at you. Maybe they're the same one.
Maybe.
We'll do that next up on KMOX.
Every morning, we rise and shine, make breakfast, and brush away the night's rest. These routines help us start the day off right. Nature-Made vitamins are a simple step in that daily care regimen. Multivitamins with daily essentials, clinically studied probiotics for gut health support, magnesium to help relax the body. Nature-Made is made to care for you every day. These statements have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. These products are not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease.
Remember when they used to ask, what do you want to be when you grow up? At Bank of America, we ask every day, what would you like the power to do? When you work here, you help build businesses, inspire communities, and forge legacies. And now we've raised our U.S. minimum wage to $25 an hour. So the opportunity to do more also comes with competitive pay. Learn more at bankofamerica.com/25. Bank of America, proud to be an equal opportunity employer.
This is Megan Lynch. 250 doctors go to Ophthalmology Associates. That's why I trust them. Ophthalmology Associates, 314-966-5000 or youridoc.com.
Celebrate the spooky season with Zero Res and get 3 rooms of carpet clean starting at just $129. Take 15% off your air duct and dryer vent cleaning. Book online at ZeroResSTL.com and take advantage of the huge savings.
Explore passion and romance as the St. Louis Symphony Orchestra performs 2 of the most exhilarating pieces in orchestral music. Violinist Nikolai Shep-Schneider showcases his virtuosity as he soars through Tchaikovsky's Violin Concerto. And music director Stefan Denev leads the SLSO in Rachmaninoff's breathtakingly beautiful Second Symphony. Experience this unforgettable performance November 1st and 2nd. Tickets available at slso.org.
Traffic from the MichaelsFlooringOutlet.com Traffic Center.
Well, heading on the westbound 64 out of the city, it's just slow now from Kings Highway headed out through the Bellevue, Big Bend area. It looks good in the valley. Still a little slow from K to a point about a third of a mile west of there. Crash on the shoulder. Everybody's just sort of slow on the way by. South 170 still backs up at the Parkway. Eastbound 64, 170 to Big Bend. That's still a little slow. South 270 cleared out. Southbound 55 looks great. Northbound 55 around Highway A looks a little busy, but the rest of these highways are cruising along nicely. I'm Roger Brand at the Michael's Flooring Outlet in the michaelsflooringoutlet.com traffic center.
Rush Hour Sports continues on 104.1 FM, KMOX.
All right, a few minutes left here on Rush Hour Sports. Matt Pauley, Kevin Wheeler with you. All right, so we each have a theory as to why we're looking at what we are with the Blues and the Cardinals in this dynamic.
Basically why Doug Armstrong gets a pass and John Mozeliak
not so much
did
that.
not.
I was thinking more of why do we accept in hockey that it's the roster and not the coach, but in baseball it's the manager that we want to yell at as opposed to acknowledging the sheer lack of talent and the flaws on the roster.
Yeah, so I guess the larger conversation, is it always that way across the board? I'm looking more specifically at the two situations as they've played out over the last year. And I think from a sports fan's perspective, Doug Armstrong has been more honest about things. You always knew exactly where the Blues stood.
He is a better public speaker.
Yes. I think he comes off more likable at times than John Mozeliak, and he won a championship more recently.
He's more of a regular guy, let's be honest. Like that's how Army's persona is. And he is that. I mean, he's not it's genuine. It's real. Yeah.
So I think Mo was somebody, and I like Mo a lot personally.
Yeah, I do
In fact,
too.
there's so many times where I was around him and I heard him talk. It's like, why don't you talk like this from a public standpoint? Because fans need to see this side of you. That was one of the things that frustrated me about Mo at times, because I don't think who he portrayed himself to be from a public standpoint completely was who he was.
A little looser behind the scenes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But to me, I think that's it. I think there was a general dislike for John Mozeliak, and that doesn't exist for Doug Armstrong.
Okay. I agree with you on that. So we do share that belief. I'll be curious if you share my theory as to why with one sport, hockey, we're more able and willing to see that the problem isn't the coach, it's the players, and we're not willing or able to see that with baseball. Is I think more sports fans, generally speaking, truly understand baseball than understand hockey.
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
More of them played baseball than played hockey, for sure. I mean, that number's not even close. And I think that's it. If you played your whole life, if you played through high school, whatever, you have more on-field experience and therefore a bit more of an understanding of the day-to-day stuff that's happening as opposed to hockey, where most people did not play hockey.
Yeah, I would even say the TV presentation of the games allows people to understand baseball more than hockey.
And the timing of it, too.
Yeah.
You're watching a baseball game, it's one move at a time. It's like chess, where hockey is just fast. And you may not catch it unless you're going back and doing a video review after the fact. And then you're like grading it, like if you like somebody that's a scout or somebody that has that experience.
And there's so much off the screen in hockey that plays a really important role. I feel that way about soccer. Like I do not watch soccer on TV very often unless I'm catching a city game. But when I went to city games, I enjoyed watching it because I could see everything develop.
Yeah.
And hockey is very much the same way.
It is, yeah. When you're there and especially when you're sitting up high, and you see things play out better. But even there, I still think the general public, and I'm just all of us, I'm included in this, the general public does not understand the X's and O's of hockey the way they do baseball. Some fans do. I want to be clear. There are fans that do. I don't think there are as many, and I think that's why people who are managing along at home are like, I could tell them what to do better. I know this. I know that. I don't think people have that same feeling about hockey.
There's even less hockey media. Like even locally, there's a lot of baseball people in this town. There's not as many hockey people.
Tease us, 10 seconds. What's up on Sports Open Line?
We'll go more into the Blues. Got some Cardinal stuff, World Series, all the normal stuff.
Love it. Sports Open Line. Matt Pauley is coming up after the news here on KMOX. Hey guys, Kevin Wheeler here for 213 Complex, which is available at Supplement Superstores. A 213 Complex is simply the best all-natural crash at the end of the day that comes with those energy drinks, and you're going to get lower cortisol levels, which can help with stress and sleep. And look, losing weight's not easy. If it was, everybody would be thin, but 213 Complex is the help that you can need to get a jump on the holidays or on the new year, whatever you like. Just go to Supplement Superstores, tell them Kevin Wheeler sent you in. They'll knock 30% off 213 Complex, and you can find your location at supplementsuperstores.com.
Actual price will depend on product and subscription plan. Featured products are compounded drug products, which the FDA does not approve or verify for safety, effectiveness, or quality. Prescription products require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. See website for details, restrictions, and important safety information.
Want a boost in and out of the bedroom? Hims has you covered. Introducing a new 2-in-1 approach to level up your game. Tadalafil for better bedroom performance and zinc for testosterone support. Put it all together and you've got what you need to turn things all the way up. Getting started is simple. Just go to hims.com/joy to start your free online visit. Through Hims, you can access ED treatments including pills, chews, and more. 100% online. No office visits, no pharmacy lines. Just fill out a simple intake form and a licensed medical provider will determine if treatment's right for you. If prescribed, it ships free and discreetly to your door. Find affordable treatment options at up to 95% less than brand names at hims.com/joy. That's hims.com/joy, HIMS.com/JOY.
When you get hurt, you don't want to end up on the injured list. You want to get back in the game, stronger than ever. At Morgan & Morgan, America's largest injury law firm, we fight for you, making sure big insurance doesn't throw you a curveball. With over $25 billion recovered, we're the home run hitters you need.
This is way out there and gone.
Morgan & Morgan, for the people. Proud sponsor of the St. Louis Cardinals.
Injured? Visit forthepeople.com for an office near you.
KMOX proudly supports the Musial Awards, returning to Stiefel Theater Saturday, November 22nd. You can be in the audience for this nationally televised event, hosted right here in St. Louis. Named for Stan the Man, the show celebrates the year's greatest moments of sportsmanship and those who embody class and character. Experience the extraordinary moments and people that make the Musial Awards an event like no other. For more information, KMOX.com/events.
Traffic from the MichaelsFlooringOutlet.com Traffic Center.
Well, traffic's doing pretty well around the area. I mean, we still have some slow spots. It looks like we have a crash on Manchester Road, just west of Reese Road. Westbound Manchester slow from Weidman, but it jams by the time you get to Baxter out through Reese, and eastbound is backed up from almost New Baldwin to Reese, so just be advised if you're headed that way. Like I said, though, the highways aren't that bad. Westbound 64, barely slow now between Hampton and McCausland. Just a couple little spots where it's a little busy. Still have that slowdown west of K where that crash is on the shoulder. Westbound 70 looks good. South 170 is cleared out. Eastbound 64 is cleared out. Southbound 55 looks good from downtown all the way in through the Festus area. A little heads up, they had canceled the overnight road work the other night, but they rescheduled it now for tonight. Tonight, they're going to have the ramp from westbound 64 to westbound 70 closed from 9 tonight to 5 tomorrow morning. It'll take eastbound 70 to A to divert back onto westbound 70. I'm Roger Brand at the MichaelsFlooringOutlet.com Traffic Center.
The trusted voice of St. Louis. KMOX AM St. Louis. KMOX FM Hazelwood. Always live on the free Odyssey app.
Jamaica cleanup after Hurricane Melissa.
There was flash flooding. It's destroyed parts of the island.
Guilty verdict in ex-Illinois deputy's murder trial.
Grayson, he just kept his eyes on the judge.
Big meeting between Presidents Trump and Xi.
There is so much at stake.
This is the CBS World News Roundup Late Edition. I'm Jennifer Kuiper. Cleanup and repairs begin in Jamaica. This after destruction caused by Hurricane Melissa. This resident rode out the 185-mile-per-hour winds.
It was terrible. The wind, it was violent. It was terrible.
Dozens of people have died across Jamaica, Haiti, and Cuba as the storm now threatens the central Bahamas. CBS's Jason Allen checks out the damage in Santa Cruz, Jamaica.
Video from above the fishing village of Alligator Pond shows massive destruction. And on the ground,
roof has gone, clothes has wet up. I need some help. Please, I need some help.
power lines are down across Jamaica, roads covered in mud and water, and homes damaged or destroyed.
Jamaican officials say 77% of the country is without power. Former Central Illinois Sheriff's Deputy Sean Grayson is convicted of second-degree murder in last year's shooting death of Sonia Massey, a black woman who called 911 about a possible prowler. At the time of the shooting, Massey was holding a pot of water. Grayson's attorneys argued that he was afraid she would throw it at him. CBS's Jerika Duncan was in the courtroom.
Guilty of second-degree murder. I immediately looked at the families of Grayson as well as Massey. Massey's family was sort of stoic. I think in speaking to some of them beforehand, they were hoping for the most serious charge in terms of the conviction, which is that first-degree murder.
President Trump in Asia says the U.S. will share closely held technology to allow South Korea to build a nuclear-powered submarine. The comment comes after his meeting with South Korea's president and ahead of tonight's meeting with China's President Xi Jinping on the sidelines of an economic summit. CBS's Weijia Zhang in South Korea.
He has expressed optimism after his trade negotiating team had breakthrough talks over the weekend. And now the president says he's optimistic that they will be able to come to an agreement and they'll be able to strike a deal.
AI chipmaker NVIDIA has become the first $5 trillion company. The Federal Reserve cuts its key interest rate by 0.25 percentage point to hedge against growing labor market risks, Fed Chair Jerome Powell.
The shutdown of the federal government will weigh on economic activity while it persists, but these effects should reverse after the shutdown ends.
With Powell warning that more help is not guaranteed, stocks closed mixed. Now this.
Sponsored by Progressive. See why over 43 million drivers trust Progressive to stay protected on the road. See for yourself at Progressive.com.
At 6:03, it's 51 degrees, but the feels like is 46 downtown at the Arch. St. Louisans are mobilizing right now to prevent a hunger crisis.
There is a wonderful food drive going on. We're really encouraging everyone in the community that can come out and donate some food resources so that we are in the best position possible to respond to the loss of SNAP benefits that a lot of people are going to feel next week.
Chief Development Officer at Operation Food Search, Ellen Reed Fox, says the organization is holding that urgent food drive at City Foundry happening right now. It lasts until 8:30. KMOX's legal analysts expect a federal judge to rule quickly on whether the government should continue providing food assistance to millions of Americans. 24 states, including Illinois, are suing the Department of Agriculture, demanding the continuation of SNAP benefits during the shutdown. The benefits are set to lapse November 1st. Brad Young, our KMOX legal analyst, says he believes the lawsuit has merit.
When you cut funds, you have to publish the intent. You have to have a time of public hearing before you actually act. None of that's happening at the present time.
Young says the Department of Agriculture will have to explain why it can't use contingency funds to support the food stamp program. Sheriff Alfred Montgomery has been temporarily removed from office.
Montgomery is out as sheriff until his quo warranto trial on November 18th after Judge Stephen Omer took issue with the logistics of Montgomery serving as sheriff while remaining in federal custody. While Montgomery was not in attendance for this hearing, his attorney David Mason says he will be there for the trial, whether or not he is still behind bars. Does he plan to testify?
We'll have him present in the courtroom and kind of make a decision on the floor as to whether or not we think that it would be in his best interest to testify.
Judge Omer did not grant the summary judgment during the hearing. Presiding Judge Chris McGraw named former police chief John Hayden as new interim sheriff. Despite expressing concerns about a new interim sheriff causing chaos, Mason said he has no worries about Hayden's appointment. Sean Malone, KMOX News.
From drunk drivers to wanted fugitives, the State Highway Patrol made more than 40 arrests in the St. Louis area in recent days. On Monday, troopers patrolling I-70 in the city made 26 misdemeanor warrant arrests and wrote 63 tickets. That followed a weekend DWI situation in St. Charles County, which resulted in 15 arrests for driving while intoxicated.
And they called it puppy love.
By the end of 2027, North St. Louis County will have a new APA campus. Today, ground was broken on the $27 million facility on Benham Road.
APA CEO Sarah Javier says,
the shovels we lift today are not just for a building. They're a promise to stand with this community, to celebrate the bond between people and pets, and to build something that will have a lasting impact for generations to come.
For years, you've heard about the problems with St. Louis County's animal care and control. Just last week, we told you about the overcrowding issues. County Council Chairwoman Rita Hurd Days.
You can have partnerships. I mean, at one point we had a partnership with APA, if you will recall. So it's not out of the realm of possibility. But you have to have leaders who want to go there, who want to make sure that we have good partners.
APA leaders were drawn to North County several years ago when they saw the lack of resources for pet owners because the priority is pet owner support services. Maria Aquina, KMOX News.
At 6:06, let's get you to Roger Brand, get a final check on the commute.
Well, the highways are looking great to wrap it up for this evening, Michael. As traffic reports the service of the Sandberg Phoenix Law Firm, we still have a little slow traffic eastbound 70, Earth City into 270, where we had that earlier crash. It's down to one lane on eastbound 370. Only the right lane's open as you get through Earth City. So traffic's bogged down back across the Discovery Bridge on eastbound 370. A stall eastbound 70 in the right lane. West of Wentzville Parkway, there's a little bit of a slowdown through there as well. Other than that, the rest of the highways look great. We still have this backed up traffic on Manchester Road, eastbound and westbound at Reese. Eastbound's jam midway back to New Baldwin. Westbound, pretty heavy, approaching 141, headed out that way. And don't forget, they rescheduled that closure, the ramp closure, through on westbound 64 to westbound 70. That ramp closure is going to happen now tonight. It was scheduled originally for Monday, but they had to push it back because of weather. So tonight, 9 till 5 tomorrow morning, that ramp westbound 64 to westbound 70 will be closed. You detour onto eastbound 70 and turn around at Route A. I'm Roger Brand in the Michael's Flooring Outlet.com Traffic Center.
Our rain is over. It's shifting just to our south and to our east. It will continue to shift away this evening. And late tonight, skies become partly cloudy. It stays breezy. It's kind of cold. 42 for the overnight low. Rainfall is now above average for 2025. What an amazing swing in the month of October. On Thursday, sunshine in full force. Chilly day, but we'll take it. 58 for the high. Supposed to be chilly this time of year. Then on Thursday night, clear and cold, 40 degrees. Friday, sunny, breezy, 60. Friday night, Halloween. During the evening, temperatures will be in the upper 40s and low 50s. Overnight, down to 41 degrees. Saturday, partly sunny skies. Another little cold front coming by. It's pretty weak, but let's not rule out the possibility on Saturday of a sprinkle or two. I think it'll be hard to find. 55 for the high with a northwest flow on Saturday. Sunday, sunny and 59 degrees. Don't forget, time change weekend on Sunday. We are going to see our sunset at 5 o'clock in the afternoon as we set our clocks back 1 hour before going to bed Saturday night. From the Saliga Heating and Cooling Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Dave Murray on 104.1 FM, KMOX.
5 o'clock. Right now we've got clouds. It's 51, feels like 46 downtown at the Arch. I'm Michael Calhoun, KMOX News.
Come on, let's get going now.
From KMOX Sports.
We're primed and ready. All day, baby. Man, let's go.
This is the Gray Bar Sports Open Live. Gray Bar, your distributor for electrical and datacom needs. On 104.1 FM, KMOX.
Here we go. Welcome in. It's the Gray Bar Sports Open Line right here on KMOX, a Wednesday evening edition of the show. My name's Matt Pauley. We've got you till 8 o'clock this evening. We got a lot to get into. Very, very busy program coming up today. It's Wednesday, so that means our weekly conversation with Bernie Miklas is going to be coming up in about 5 minutes or so. Later on this hour, looking forward to this. Not exactly a common occurrence here at KMOX. We're going to talk Eastern Illinois University baseball. And you go, Matt, why are you talking about Eastern Illinois University baseball? With all due respect to all the wonderful people about 2.5 hours from here in Charleston, Illinois. Well, in the World Series earlier this week, there was the epic 18-inning game. And if you were watching that game, a guy that you were likely to have never heard of came in to pitch the end of the game, the final few innings, and that was a guy by the name of Will Klein. Wasn't even on the postseason roster for the Dodgers previously. Had been working out in Arizona on his own up until the World Series and then added to the roster. Well, if you didn't know, Will Klein, previously, he played his collegiate baseball, again, just a little bit more than 2 hours away from St. Louis, at Eastern Illinois University. And their head coach, Jason Anderson, who is a former big leaguer himself, having spent a handful of years getting time in the big leagues with a number of different organizations. Jason Anderson, the head coach of Eastern Illinois Baseball, is going to join us at about 6:35. Next hour, we are going to hear a little bit from Blues coach Jim Montgomery. He spoke earlier today, leading into tomorrow's game that they have and coming off a loss yesterday. Blues are just a mess. Blues are just an absolute mess. They lose to the Red Wings yesterday by a 5-2 score. The news of the day from the Blues, and this is exciting, so we'll see if this gives them some extra pep in their step. But they do announce today that Dalibor Dvorsky has been called up from their AHL affiliate Springfield, and he's going to be playing tomorrow. Jim Montgomery said that he's going to be on the power play tomorrow. So we'll hear a little bit from Jim Montgomery and also the weekly conversation that we get with Patrick Mahomes from our sister station 96.5 The Fan in Kansas City. That's going to be coming up in the 7 o'clock hour as well. As always, if you want to join us, you can do so by calling or texting 314-436-7900, 314-436-7900. You can tweet at me at Matt Pauley on air, MattPauley on air. And for those of you who are following along on our video stream, you can leave a comment on the chat, and we'll try to address some of those as we do go along through the program this evening. Did want to start with the Blues, and we'll talk with Bernie Miklas about this a little bit more in just a bit. Like I don't know when you really start to throw up the red flags. Maybe some people already have. It's really bad right now. I'm not trying to, run these guys over with a bus, right? Like it's really bad. They're giving up a ton of goals. Defensively, it's terrible. And it's, Montgomery said today that the path to getting kind of back on track, it's not actually that long, that it can happen pretty quickly. Good, because it needs to, but we need to see this happen. And the 5-game losing streak actually is something that hasn't happened in about 2.5 years, I believe it is. The fact that they're just it's not just losing the games, it's how they're losing the games. What did I say earlier? 37 goals in their 37 goals in their 5 regulation losses this year. They've lost every single game that they've lost in regulation. They've lost by at least 3 goals. It is just flat out ugly right now. And this is a good team. This is a very good team. It's a very good team in a conference and in a division that has great teams. So even being a very good team, that doesn't necessarily mean that they're going to be a top of the division, top of conference team. They're probably not. But at the same time, this is a team where the expectations coming into the season that they would absolutely be a playoff club, and they look anything like that. Still very, very early. But you also don't want to be in such a hole that you have a hard time building yourself out of it. And I don't think we're at that point now. They've played 10 games. They've played 10 of 82. And I think it was Braden Shin who spoke about this last night in the locker room, if I remember correctly. If it wasn't him, somebody said it, that they can, they're on a 5-game losing streak right now, but they could just as easily go on a 5-game winning streak. Okay, that's true. And I think this team does have the talent to do that. But they have to shore themselves up defensively. You can't be giving up 7, 6, 6, and 5 goals over a 4-game run. You just can't. And they got to figure it out defensively. And you figure it out defensively. Again, we'll hear from Jim Montgomery next hour. I'm not just trying to parrot everything that he said earlier today, but I thought it was interesting. He discussed where they're at from an offensive standpoint, some of the advanced numbers that go along with who they are offensively when it comes to the chances that they're getting and things like that. They're basically right where they want to be. Offensively, even if it's not totally resulting in goals, that will come. The process, what they're trying to do, is for the most part being accomplished, but they are just an absolute mess defensively, and they got to find themselves a way to work themselves out of it. And I don't totally know what that looks like, but I hope it happens, and I hope it happens soon, because I was looking forward to a good Blues season and a season that would result in them in the playoffs, and obviously that's still very much on the table, but they can't keep doing this for a while, especially in the division and the conference that they're in. Again, we've got a lot coming up this hour. We are going to hear from Bernie Miklas in just a moment. By the way, a little bit of breaking news. The Minnesota Twins hiring Derek Shelton, the former Pirates manager. He's going to become their new manager. I'll be interested to see what that looks like. And also it was reported that as Albert Pujols, who continues to discuss things with the San Diego Padres, He's actually on the MLB Network broadcast of the World Series pregame right now. He was in Southern California. He reportedly met with the Padres for 9.5 hours in his second interview. That's what Bob Nightingale said. 9.5 hours Pujols met with the Padres. I don't know if that means he's any closer to getting that job or not, but certainly something to keep an eye on. We'll take a break. When we come back, Bernie Miklasz is going to join us. Don't go anywhere. This is Gray Bar Sports Open Line on KMOX.
At Sandberg Phoenix, we're more than just a law firm. Our attorneys are committed to you, your business, and your community. We are ready to serve you in the areas of business litigation, intellectual property, health law, and products liability. SandbergPhoenix.com. The choice of lawyers is an important decision and should not be based solely on advertising.
You've got your whole life ahead of you, so choose a Medicare plan you can count on. And that's what you get with a Medicare Advantage plan from United Healthcare. With more than 45 years' experience serving its members, United Healthcare has plans with low monthly premiums that fit your life today and as your needs change tomorrow. The Medicare annual enrollment period ends December 7th, so go to uhc.com/Medicare today. United Healthcare Medicare plans. It's Medicare coverage Missouri can count on.
Dave, congratulations on your 25th anniversary from BioBalance Health, Dr. Sullivan, and me personally.
You have single-handedly helped us reach hundreds of new patients, both men and women, over the past 15 years. Since 2010, BioBalance has been treating men and women over the age of 40 with testosterone pellets and preventative medicine.
BioBalance Health was the first medical hormone pellet practice in St. Louis. Now we are the most successful.
Dave has not only been our partner at BioBalance Health, but also our patient and great friend. Thanks, Dave.
Feel like everything's clouded by doubt? Visit CaliforniaPsychics.com. Our psychics are available to talk 24/7, and we guarantee if it's not life-changing, it's free. Experience the joy of certainty. California Psychics.
Check the back seat. Check the back seat.
Gets in your head, right? Good, because every year dozens of children are forgotten in the back seat. Cars get hot fast and can be deadly, so get it in your head. A message from NHTSA and the Ad Council.
Life insurance. Why are you putting it off? Can't afford it? Too much hassle? Think you don't need it? There's lots of excuses for putting off life insurance. But if you weren't there, who would pay the mortgage and other bills? With Ethos, you could be covered in 10 minutes and boom, family protected. Ethos, fast and easy online term life insurance. Up to $2 million in coverage with no medical exam. Some policies as low as $1 a day. Answer a few health questions and get your free quote at ethos.com/radio. That's ethos.com/radio.
Looking for your dream home in Wentzville? Welcome to Sutton Farms by Lombardo Homes, where community and comfort come together. Enjoy resort-style living with a private clubhouse, indoor courts, a splash pad, sand volleyball, walking trails, and even a dog park. Choose from our newest Parkside series, or design your own custom home in our nature or traditional series, all within the top-rated Wentzville School District. Discover the perfect blend of small-town charm and modern convenience at Sutton Farms, located off Piney Road in Wentzville. Visit LombardoHomes.com to learn more.
If you owe the IRS, you have a legal issue, and you need the Lance Drury Law Firm. We'll protect your rights. Log on at LanceDruryLaw.com.
Retiring soon? Get the information you need by joining Kyle Jones and Matt Allgeier of Fire Capital Management for your retirement highway, Sunday mornings at 9:30. Investment advisory services made available through Pine Ridge Advisors, LLC, a registered investment advisor. Securities made available through AE Financial Services, LLC, member FINRA and SIPC.
Welcome back to the Gray Bar Sports Open Line. Once again, Matt Pauley on KMOX.
We do continue on here on a Wednesday night. We have reached that time where we talk with Bernie Miklasz every week. Of course, he is part of the team here at KMOX. You hear him during Sports on a Sunday morning, during Dave Glover, Chris and Amy, his weekly conversation here, Rush Hour Sports. He's all over the place. Also, he does daily written and video content over at STL Sports Central. Follow him on Twitter at _Miklasz. He's Bernie Miklasz. How are you doing, Bernie?
I'm doing good, my friend Matt Pauley. Thank you. How are you?
I am good. I wasn't going to talk to you about this. This wasn't on my schedule of things to get to, but I just saw you tweet this literally in the last couple minutes. The Augie Nash Twitter account, which is a great account that goes through St. Louis Cardinals history, tweeted something out about Bob Bragg, who obviously at the Post-Dispatch also had a presence here on KMOX. And you quote tweeted it and talked a little bit about your development as a young sports writer and how Bob Bragg was such a big part of that. Can you expound on that a little bit here?
He was incredibly kind and supportive of me. I came to St. Louis in 1985, and I started writing the column in 1989, and I was very young as a columnist. And there are many times in the newspaper business, as it was, not now, but as it was, where sort of the senior columnist who's still working will, not be the nicest to the young puppy columnist, kind of resents the young guy, uh, doesn't offer much help, that kind of thing. I know a lot of people that had to go through stuff like that, but Bob Bragg he looked out for me. He was incredibly kind and helpful, and he introduced me to people. We had lunch once a week. I got to know a lot of people in St. Louis that I never would have gotten to know without him. And he had a tremendous impact on me, and I really, really miss him. And I said in the tweet, one of my favorite memories of Bob Bragg was uh, driving him to and from Mizzou football home games. We could have, I mean, he is a living history museum, and all the stories he would have about those great Cardinals teams, going way back. I mean, way, way back. And he's telling me Stan the Man stories and, Enos Slaughter stories. So it would be like I would even drive slow to get to the stadium. I would drive slow because I wanted to listen to his stories and ask him questions. And then coming back, coming home to St. Louis, I would drive him even more slowly because I wanted to have those conversations and soak up all that I could. What a legend in St. Louis, what an icon. And, it's strange. He's one of those guys I thought would live to be about 100, So to me, he left too soon. I love that man.
Yeah. So this kind of a weird left turn I'm going to take in connecting all of this, but John O'Leary was here at the KMOX studios a little bit more than a week ago, and he was here. He talked to the KMOX staff, and one of the things he brought up was how cool it was at KMOX that you basically you can go in terms of KMOX sports director, because that's Tom Ackerman right now. Mm-hmm. You don't have to go. It's not like a million people have been in that position as you date it back to Jack Buck. Essentially, it's been two people since Jack Buck, and there's a line to that. And I think there's been so many columnists, there's been so many newspaper people, there have been so many team broadcasters that have had such longevity in this market that not only is it cool for those individuals, but like we don't have to trace back that many generations back to get to the great Bob Bragg. That's what I'm trying to get to here. You have these stories about him, and then people have stories about Bernie. Like it's a very cool part of St. Louis media.
I think it is, and I think in a way that's been lost a little bit in other markets because media has changed so much. And I actually, not that I want to be 66 years old. I'd like to be, say, 46, but I'm also grateful to be 66 and having all this history inside me, all this institutional knowledge passed down by people like not only Bob Bragg, but the bench warmer Bob Burns, who was also very kind to me, and other legends, Rick Hummel. I'm able to walk around with the stories they told me and the experiences I had with them and because of them. And in my own way, I try to tell these stories and keep their memories alive, but also it's always important to remember the people that came before you who had a great impact, not only on me, but more than me, a great impact on generations of St. Louisans.
Yeah, I'm glad you quoted it. I'm glad we had this conversation. In many ways, the Post-Dispatch and KMOX are intertwined in a lot of things. And I don't know if my dad actually was the producer of this show in the 60s. So I grew up on just learning the history of this. And I don't know, it's something that, especially with the KMOX 100-year anniversary and everything that's coming up, more of this is going to be out there. And it's really good. It's good to be able to talk about these titans that came before us, and especially for somebody like me that's a little bit younger than you.
Hey, listen, and I mean this 100% with affection, okay? This is not me poking fun at the bench warmer, Bob Burns, who was incredible to me as well. But listen, I'm telling you, Mr. Matt Pauley, you haven't done talk radio until you're in the KMOX studio, the old KMOX studios, and you're asked to sit in with Bob Burns. And in the middle of a sentence, Bob Burns, first of all, has got a cigar going right in the studio. and then in the middle of the segment, he's talking and he closes his eyes. And I'm thinking, well, he's trying to He's trying to think of what he wants to say next. He wants to be careful. But then I realized he actually kind of dozed off, and he's got the cigar lit and everything else. And again, I'm not making fun of him. I'm just telling you where can you go to see stuff like that? A legend like that. I mean, where you're just like seeing stuff you thought you'd never see. And God bless him. And I would just kind of nudge him softly, and he'd get right back into it, like he had never dozed off for a few seconds. Oh my goodness!
I worked with a guy. So when I was in Milwaukee, I worked with a former big leaguer, Davey Nelson. I don't know if you remember Davey.
Oh yeah, okay. I sure do. Yeah.
So I worked with Davey Nelson, and he has since passed away. He's one of my favorite people that I've ever been around. He would doze off at any given moment, and maybe you kind of like start to speak a little bit louder just to try to get them out of their day. Maybe I just wasn't very entertaining, but yeah, it is funny when you've got that situation when you're literally talking with somebody who is falling asleep as you're speaking.
And Bob Bragg, 20 million stories, but maybe my favorite one was, it's 1967. And it's Game 7 of the World Series against the Red Sox. Bob Gibson starting, and what happened was Bob Gibson slept longer than he usually does. It's a Sunday morning, I believe, and so he missed breakfast, like the coffee shop closed or something. And he's on the bus, and Bragg's on the bus, and Gibson's talking about how he's hungry, wish he had something to eat. He needs to eat something to pitch. So Bragg literally jumps off the bus, and he's running down the street, and he finds just a typical diner type place right in Boston. And he orders Gibby kind of like 2 ham, egg, and cheese sandwiches, right? There might have even been 3. And then he gets in a cab and he gets to Fenway Park, and he delivers the sandwiches to Gibson, who was not the warmest guy at times, but he just kind of smiled at Bragg and said, well, that was very kind of you, Bob. And then, of course, Gibson goes out and pitches a masterpiece, and he hits a home run. So, and then Bragg, God bless him, would always kind of in a way to take a little credit for that. Oh my gosh.
Oh,
stories.
Great stuff.
Yep.
Before we let you go, I know you did a video on the Blues. Man, oh man, 5 straight losses. They've given up, Bernie, 37 goals in their 6 regulation losses this year. Every single one of their regulation losses has been by at least 3 goals. It is, it's early. There's still plenty of time. This is not an indictment on this team for the full season, but holy moly, is this not a good performance from this team right now?
No, Jeremy Rutherford, our good friend from The Athletic, he wrote a great piece today. And, he basically said, his lead was like the St. Louis Blues are broken. And that's just that kind of sums it all up, because there's really nothing about the team right now that's working or functioning well. Like everything about the team is busted. And that part makes it more serious to me, because I'm usually the first guy to well, it's 82 game season. They have 72 to go. Everybody relax. It'll be okay. Well, when a team is this broken and no one down there has any answers, Jim Montgomery's exasperated. He's tried to encourage them. He's tried to demand things. He's held them accountable. He's pointed out, what they need to do. And he doesn't have an answer. And, I thought Cam Fowler last night, when he was asked questions by reporters after that awful loss last night, it said, well, what's the problem? What do you identify? Why is this happening? And he said, honestly, I don't have an answer. And I'm thinking, well, the coach doesn't have an answer. The players don't have an answer. It's broken. It's just a matter of how long it's going to take them to fix it. It's very unusual to see them this bad. And I don't think it's just a little phase. I don't.
All right, we'll see how it goes. Bernie, I really enjoyed this. I'm glad you tweeted that. That was a lot of fun, so thank you for sharing the story. We should do stuff like that more often.
Oh, absolutely, because that's the thing. I'm the old guy now, right?
I'm not going to call you the old guy, but if you want to self-identify, I'm not going to push back.
I'm the old guy. Okay. I'm the one with the memory stories. Anyway, love you, man. Thank you.
Well, before we let you go, can you share with us a little bit about Saliga?
Of course I will. Saliga Heating and Cooling has been taking care of the Miklas family 17 years. This Daikin Comfort dealer has been taking care of St. Louis family since 1927, going on 100 years. Listen, I'm just going to tell you what I know, and I know it, and I know it, and I know it because we have dealt with Saliga in our home so many times. My gosh, they set the standard for honesty, integrity, knowledge, professionalism, prompt service. They never try to talk you into something expensive, never pressure you into something you're not comfortable with. They go the other way. They look for the least expensive solution, and they've done that for us. They found that solution, the least expensive solution to take care of the problem many, many times. So they've saved us money, and they've also saved us money with the Priority Club maintenance plan that's going to save you money because it extends the life of your current equipment, your air conditioning and heating, and also they do other things for your home, like quality of your indoor air, for example. Listen, I just can't emphasize enough how great they are and how great they will take care of you because they've been doing it since 1927. If you want to find out more, and please do, you'll see the phone number. Go to SaligaHeatingandCooling.com. Thank you.
Let me tell you about this new pretzel cheddar club. Hey, I'm Carlos.
And I'm Ebony. And a little thing we love about the Chick-fil-A Pretzel Cheddar Club
is the tangy Dijon with the pretzel bun. It takes it to a whole nother level.
It goes perfectly with the chicken and the cheddar cheese and the bacon.
Man, you know how much you love bacon. And I love the different varieties. Grilled, spicy, original. It gets you nice and excited for fall.
Order the Pretzel Cheddar Club with Cherry Berry and Sprite for a limited time on the Chick-fil-A app. Real guests paid for their testimonials.
There's nothing like when you get that part from eBay and it just fits. Yeah, the first time. So you can do less of this and get right back to more of this. At eBay, you'll find all the parts you need, guaranteed to fit, at prices you'll love. Sounds good, doesn't it? eBay, things people love. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply.
When you want a brand new kitchen, there's nothing to it. There's a brand new way to do it. 3-day kitchen and bath.
Rochelle talks about her experience with 3-day kitchen and bath.
It was a wonderful experience. I had heard about them on the radio. They come out to your house. They let you know what they do. They let you pick out your features, your colors, and then they come into your home the morning they start. They walk you through this is what's going to happen, and you leave for a few days, and you come home, and it's done.
Was it easy?
It made it easy because you're not in the middle of a mess for 2 or 3 months. Left on a Tuesday morning, and it was done on a Thursday night. We came home Friday morning early because we were so excited.
What was your reaction when you first saw it?
Wow. Wow.
It's about time.
3 days or less.
At 3-day kitchen and bath.
I'm Ed Evans, CEO of Consumer Cellular. Ever wonder why Big Wireless wants you on an unlimited plan? They probably want you to cover the cost of those 20-somethings using all that data every month. But most people 50 and up like me only use 12 gigs or less. Don't get bamboozled by Big Wireless. Switch to Consumer Cellular. Our plans start at just $20, and we use the same towers as the big guys. Join the millions who choose something better, because if you're not using all that data, you're probably getting used.
Call 1-888-FREEDOM, visit consumercellular.com/facts or a store near you. Plans include $5 credit for auto pay and e-billing. See site for additional facts.
Nobody had to tell your grandparents not to drive while using their typewriters. Why should it be any different for us kids and our cell phones? Distracted driving was the cause of more than 3,000. Come on, we're smarter than this. Let's put down the phones and focus on the roads. Drive safe, everybody.
Don't drive distracted. A message brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, Project Yellow Light, and the Ad Council.
FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook, coming to Missouri soon. December 1st, finally you'll be able to bet on all your favorite teams and all your favorite sports, and it could not come at a better time of year. With football, basketball, hockey, it's all happening, and with FanDuel, tons of ways to get in on the action. You can bet on everything from the money line, over-under, bet the spread, or look to the future. Maybe you know who the MVP is going to be or win Coach of the Year, or what team's going to win the championship. You can do that with FanDuel. Plus, with live betting, you can even pick what player's going to score the next touchdown and the one after that while the game is going on. Download the FanDuel app and get familiar with it, because the app will be live to use December in Missouri. You can see for yourself why FanDuel is America's #1 sportsbook. Visit FanDuel.com/Missouri to download the app. FanDuel, play your game. 21 and over and present in Missouri. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Welcome back to the Graybar Sports Open Line. Once again, Matt Pauley on KMOX.
It's Graybar Sports Open Line here on KMOX. If you've been paying attention to the World Series, a very cool moment in that crazy 18-inning game the other day. The game was finished out by Dodgers pitcher Will Klein. Now, if you did not know, Klein actually played his college baseball only about 2 hours away from St. Louis at Eastern Illinois, and he played for Coach Jason Anderson, a former big leaguer himself. And Coach Anderson joins us right now. Coach, thanks for taking some time with us. How are you?
Hey, I'm doing great. Big win the other night, and appreciate you having me on.
Yeah, let's start with this. Did you make it all 18 innings? Were you locked in when Will came in?
No. I think I fell asleep about the 12th inning, and I was watching the game with my 14-year-old son, and he stayed up, and he actually let me sleep through Will's first inning, and then he woke me up in the second inning, and pretty locked in after that.
What is it for you? I have to say, I know you were a big leaguer yourself, but watching guys that you coached in college to have that kind of moment and that kind of impact, what did that mean to you?
Oh man, it's just great, man. It's exciting for Will, obviously, but also his family. Like, he has put in a ton of work and made improvements to his game, and nobody ever thinks they're going to end up being a World Series hero, but when the moment arises, the question is, are you ready for it? And he was ready for it. It was really neat to see.
So, you look at his college numbers, they were somewhat pedestrian. I know you don't always you can't project a guy as a big leaguer. Did you see something when he was playing for you? Did you have a thought that this guy had an opportunity to get into pro baseball and to work up the ranks and eventually get to the big leagues?
Well, when we brought him in, he was in high school. He was a high school catcher, so very limited pitching experience. And so his freshman year, we really worked on, just turning him into a pitcher. Didn't really have a whole lot of off speed, didn't have a whole lot of command, which led into sophomore year where he got a little bit better, but still a little erratic. But his junior year, he was electric. He was, high 90s and dotting fastballs on the quarter and plus breaking balls. The problem was it just happened to coincide with the COVID year. And so we only really got to see him for 4 starts. And, that was just another obstacle he had to overcome on his end.
What did you see from him? That's an interesting story. The fact that he was a catcher coming out of high school. What did everybody know he was going to be a pitcher at the next level, or was it something that you and maybe your staff specifically saw?
Well, I don't know what anybody else saw, but he's a Bloomington, Indiana kid, right there where Indiana University is. But I saw him. He had great size. He had a good arm. He was high 80s or low 90s, fresh arm. But what I really liked about him was his school mentality. He was a 34 ACT, and that told me that he was really going to be able to work. And, if he put the same effort in the classroom as he did on the field, we were going to be able to develop him. And we did the visit, and, the combination of talking to him and meeting his family and to seeing his support staff, it was easy. Like, it was a good fit, and we were excited to bring him in.
We're talking to the head coach of Eastern Illinois baseball, and that is Jason Anderson. He was Will Klein's coach when Will was playing college baseball, again, just a couple hours away from here in St. Louis. What does it do for your program? Bluntly, we would not be having you on. Eastern Illinois baseball is not something we'd be talking about here on KMOX if not for this moment. Over these last couple of days, what has it done? Because it has put a bit of a spotlight on your program.
Yeah, well, for him, he's one of the guys that helped turn our program around. We've had a lot of success over here. We put 3 guys in the big league last year. We had Trey Sweeney, who was a first-round pick. Hayden Birdsong was in the rotation with the Giants at 23 years old. And then you got Will throwing over 100 miles an hour. But we also got Ryan Ignacio in AA. We won championship rings 2 out of the last 3 years. We won academic awards. And so, this stuff all stemmed from guys like him that, we talk about winning everything around here, the classroom, the weight room, on the field. And, he's all of those things. And so that's what he really means to us. And he's opened the door to really show other guys that, hey, this is really possible.
The Eastern Illinois, from an athletic standpoint, it gets talked about a lot with football because there's been a number of individuals connected to Eastern Illinois that have gone on to do really good things in the NFL. It's beyond baseball, beyond football. I mean, this is just an athletic department that certainly probably has punched above its weight in terms of producing high-end players, high-end coaches, things like that.
Yeah, and that's what I like. Our program, when I recruit guys, I tell them, like, I want to do things that people don't think we can do. Like, I don't want to be at the program that just goes and buys players that other guys have developed. I want guys that have a chip on their shoulder, that have been overlooked, and come in here, and then we'll go compete against those guys. And we've beaten them. We've beaten the big schools, and, we're not afraid of them. And it's a mentality that works well when these guys do get into Pro Bowl, and to go in the 15th inning of a World Series game, like, you better have that mentality. And some of these kids that are going to these bigger schools don't have that mentality.
It's a really cool story. Since we have you, and I know you have one, I was looking at your roster. I saw there was one kid from the St. Louis area. It's Charleston, Illinois, less than 2.5 hours away from St. Louis. How important is the St. Louis area for what you're trying to do and the recruiting that you do for your team?
Yeah, we've got, most of our guys are from St. Louis, Chicago, Indianapolis area, but we got guys from all over the world. We've had Canadians, Australians, had a kid from the Bronx last year, South Dakota, California. I'm looking under every rock trying to find guys that have that mentality, that, want to do those things. And, but St. Louis has been huge for us. The baseball down there is awesome. And so we've had a good number of guys that have came up here that, that have had success.
Well, there's been a lot of focus here on Eastern Illinois baseball the last couple of days. Jason Anderson, the head coach, former big leaguer himself, but he got to watch one of his players, as he mentioned a moment ago, a number of his players play in the big leagues, but it was a really cool moment watching Will Klein in the extra inning game. Coach, thank you so much for taking the time and for sharing your experience and what it was like for you watching Klein pitch the other day. Really, really cool stuff.
Thank you so much for having me.
That is Jason Anderson, again, the head baseball coach at Eastern Illinois. It's funny, you never know. All of a sudden, a guy that you really haven't heard much about, like a Will Klein, he walks into to a game, has a huge impact, wins a game from the mound, and just does things that nobody really expected out of him. Somebody who wasn't even on the roster earlier on in the postseason for the Dodgers, and then you find out the backstory, and lo and behold, this is a guy who was pitching his college ball about 2 hours from St. Louis, and a great opportunity to talk with Coach Jason Anderson about that experience. We will take a break. We've got more coming up. Don't go anywhere. You are locked in to a Gray Bar Sports Open Line on KMOX.
The DGS Halloween Show is back, and you can hear it first on Friday, October 31st, starting at 4 p.m. Hear all about their ghost hunting experience and all the thrills and chills the show experienced this year. And to check out the ghost adventures from the past 20 years, head to KMOX.com/Halloween. The DGS Halloween Show, presented by Lore Wine and Spirits. Try Ghost Tequila today, the perfect spicy spirit to bring your Halloween celebrations to the next level.
I love being able to talk to you about i3 Broadband. They are the internet service provider at my home, and if they're available in your neighborhood, I would strongly suggest that they become the internet service provider at your home as well. A few reasons, and it's all the stuff that really matters. You want performance, you want speed, they've got it. They always mirror their upload and download speeds. That's a big deal. A lot of service providers don't do that. So you might think you have 1 gig internet. You really don't have 1 gig internet because you're waiting for stuff to go through the upload process. You can get 1 gig, 2 gig, or 8 gig internet. I have 2 gig at home, and that's probably a lot more than I need. I never feel like my internet's lagging. We've got all kinds of devices that are connected to it. The reliability is crazy. I've had other service providers, internet's always going down. It's always going down at the worst time. I do stuff, I'll be, doing some work in the middle of the night where a lot of times work is going on or something. Never goes down. It's so reliable. Everything is done underground. That certainly helps. And then the price. I pay less than what I was paying with the cable company, and I'm getting better service for it. So check them out. See if they're available in your neighborhood. Put your address in, i3broadband.com. Again, i3broadband.com, and make the switch. You're really going to love them.
Glover here for my friends at Cantor Injury Law. Cantor is local, and we're here doing the work every day. We're right here in St. Louis, and we're ready to fight for you. CantorInjuryLaw.com or call 314-628-9999.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be solely based on advertisements.
I met my wife in law school at the University of Florida. She was from upstate New York, and I was from Kentucky. We met at a daily mass at St. Augustine's. She was the most beautiful girl I'd ever seen in my life. After communion, I followed her out of the church and got her phone number. The rest is history. I'm John Morgan of Morgan & Morgan. Little did we know that one day we would have 4 children and the largest injury firm in the world. All 4 work in the business. It's a family business. Did I ever see this coming? Hell no. We just worked very hard and treated our clients like we would want to be treated, like family. It's a full-service injury firm, auto accidents, medical malpractice, workers' compensation, Social Security, and insurance disputes. We're open 24/7, 365 days a year. Visit forthepeople.com and we can get to work on your case. No recovery, no fee. Morgan & Morgan, for the people. Injured? Dial Pound Law or visit forthepeople.com for an office near you.
Welcome back to the Gray Bar Sports Open Line. Once again, Matt Pauley on KMOX.
Back at it as we get into our final segment here in hour number 1. Hour number 2, we've got a lot coming up. We are going to hear from Blues coach Jim Montgomery. He spent some time meeting with the media after practice earlier today. Had some really interesting things to say. Talked a lot about Dalibor Dvorsky, who is now with the team, will play tomorrow night, will be a center, will be on the power play tomorrow, but also how does this team get better? That was a big part of what was talked about today. So you'll hear from Jim Montgomery in just a while. I got some feedback on something that I said, and I'll be honest with you. If we talk Cardinals, if we talk baseball, there's never an issue with getting feedback. When we talk about the Blues, we don't get as much feedback. And I don't totally know why that is. I'm not going to not talk Blues about it. We talk a lot of Blues hockey on this show, as we should. And I made the comment earlier that the Blues are a good, not great team. Maybe I said a very good team, not great. I don't know if I said good or very good, but I did put the qualifier not great. And what I meant by that is I think they're a team that should be in the postseason this year. I think they're good enough to be in the postseason, but I don't think they're the class of the division. I know they're not the class of the division. I know they're not the class of the of the West overall, right? So good, not great. That's how I would describe them. Got a fair amount of feedback on that, and just a couple examples of that. Larry sent in a message on the video stream, said it is not a very good team. Got a more elaborate text that came in that says, let's see, we'll make sure I get this right. It says, how can you say Field's a good hockey team? He says, if you truly take the St. Louis hat off, can you really feel that way? Says, I have to imagine an evening sports show in any other market is going to look at the Blues and not say that's a really good team. I know it has to be hard to be in the market and trash on them, but a supposed good team in our hearts and on paper is not the same as what's on the ice. Try to remove the bias. And I appreciated that message. And I guess this is where I would go from that. When I talk about, and at some point in the year this changes, right? We're still early on in the year. If they continue to play the way they are playing right now, well, 2 months from now, I'm not going to tell you they're a good team. Because at that point, there's going to be enough evidence on the ice that that's not the case. I look at who they should be. I look at who they could be, but more about who they should be. Should and could are different. They rhyme, but they're not the same. Who they should be. Who should the Blues be? I think we saw down the stretch of the year last year a pretty darn good team, and I think they got better in the offseason. Now, Jim Montgomery climbed to the mountaintop and screamed as loud as he could during training camp that this is a brand new year. This is not just a continuation of last season. And I think a lot of us, including myself, I'll raise my hand. A lot of us just kind of looked at, okay, this is almost going to be a continuation of last season. And Jim Montgomery tried to tell us, no, that's not the case. That's not the case. This is a brand new team, and you can't build upon expectations from last year to this year. Maybe build upon expectations is the wrong way to say it. But you understand, I think you should understand where I'm going at with this. For me, it's early enough to say that I don't think the team that we're seeing on the ice right now is who they are. I think they're better than that. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe the people who are pushing back on me right now are going to be correct. And if that's right, well, we're going to have plenty of time to revisit this for sure. And if the Blues don't turn things around, if the Blues continue to struggle at this rate, if they're not a playoff team this year, well, then we can sit here and maybe I'll change my tune to all of a sudden I'll be saying, well, the Blues just aren't a very good team. I did that with the Cardinals. And I don't think it's I'm not afraid of changing opinions. And I don't think it's talking out both sides of my mouth. I'm a real big believer in this. I believe what I believe, and I believe what I believe for reasons. But when given new information, I am the first to reevaluate things and look at things differently. I think from a self-awareness standpoint, I actually think that's one of my strengths. I tend not to dig in on positions. When something presents itself, when there is new information out there, I have no problem changing my opinion based off that. And the Cardinals went from a team that in May I was really excited about, and the way they were playing, I thought that maybe that was something that was going to be real. Maybe that was something that was going to be legitimate. And by the time the season got done, I think we could all sit back and say, you know what? They just weren't a very good team. They just didn't have enough talent. They played over their skis in the month of May, and some people, including myself, probably got caught up in it a little bit. And at the end of the day, they just weren't the best team. Maybe that's going to happen in kind of reverse order here with the Blues maybe moving forward, right? And I hope not. I hope not. I hope that they turn around, and I hope that they're a good that the play on the ice matches my expectations for them. So when I sit here and say they're a good team, it's not me talking about who they are right now with a 3-6-1 record. It's about the talent that has been assembled. It's about the coach they have. It's about the things that they can be, and it's still early enough in the season that I feel like they can reach that. One final thing before we get out of here for hour number one. This is hockey related. I wanted to share this story because I think it's really cool. This was written by, it's from The Athletic. Let's see. James Myrtle wrote it. I believe that's how you say his name. Brad Marchand of the Florida Panthers. I don't know if you've heard this story. It's pretty darn cool. He is actually stepping away from the Florida Panthers for a single night. He had a friend in his hometown of Halifax, and his friend, a local coach and a trainer in Halifax, J.P. McCullum. J.P. recently lost his 10-year-old daughter after a battle with cancer. Just a terrible, terrible story. So Brad Marchand is stepping away from the Florida Panthers. And one of the cool, when you hear about Marchand, you think about like super tough guy, right? Like he has a reputation as a player, a certain reputation. Well, this shows you that who the guys are on the ice sometimes is not exactly who they are in real life, for lack of a better term. And that's not true just about hockey. That's true about everything. So Marchand's going to be coaching in place of this individual, McCullum, when the Nova Scotia under-18 hockey Halifax team play in a game that's going to be coming up again. I believe that's going on tonight. And this game is going to be used as an opportunity to honor the memory of that man's daughter, raise funds for the family as well, as evidently they do need a little bit of help in that area. And Marchand has donated a signed jersey for an online raffle. But really, really a cool thing right there that Brad Marchand's leaving the Florida Panthers for a night, has a close relationship with this individual, and he's gonna step aside from the Florida Panthers and go coach this team in honor of a friend. So I saw that today. I thought it was really, really cool, and one of those stories that I'm glad The Athletic wrote about, and I'm glad it got out there a little bit because we don't always hear those type of stories, and I just thought it was certainly something that absolutely was worth mentioning. Blues are going to get back at it tomorrow night. Again, coming up in hour number 2, we are going to hear a little bit from Jim Montgomery. He had a lot to say today. I've gone through some of it, but we're going to listen into him of all of his non-game media conferences that he's had this year. I thought today was, for me personally, it was kind of the most enlightening. He said a lot of things about a lot of different things, and certainly want to play that for you. And then also in hour number 2, we are going to hear from Kansas City Chiefs quarterback Patrick Mahomes, his weekly conversation that he does with our sister station, 96.5 The Fan in Kansas City. We like to replay that for you each and every week, and we're going to do that for you after the Chiefs came away with a good victory. Also in the 7 o'clock hour, something crazy is happening. I've talked about this way too much lately. This just shouldn't be something that we're talking about on an everyday basis, but the college football, the way things are going right now in college football with the coaches, it's crazy. It's absolutely crazy with what's happened with the coaching carousel. And there were some comments made today by the governor of Louisiana, of all things, about the head coaching position at LSU and who's actually going to be hiring that position. And if we were to take the same situation and apply it to Missouri, it would be a really weird thing. So we'll get into that coming up as well here in just a little while. As always, if you want to join us, 314-436-7900, 314-436-7900. That's how you call. That's how you text. You can tweet at me as well, at Matt Pauley on air. You are locked into a Gray Bar Sports Open Line right here on KMOX.
It's the Medicare Advantage annual enrollment period, and Humana knows not everyone has the same needs when picking a Medicare Advantage plan.
Now that I'm retired, I want to enjoy the life I've worked hard to build. So I want a plan that covers me when I'm traveling the country.
Humana has a plan for that.
As a veteran, I want a plan that fills in the gaps my VA coverage doesn't provide, like dental care.
Humana has a plan for that.
I feel good about my health. I just want care and coverage with predictable costs. No surprises.
Humana has a plan for that. With a Humana Medicare Advantage plan, you get coverage and benefits that focus on what matters most to you. Learn more at gethumana.com. Humana, a more human way to healthcare. Humana is a Medicare Advantage HMO and PPO organization with a Medicare contract. Enrollment in any Humana plan depends on contract renewal.
Dan owed an unbelievable amount of money to the IRS.
I got behind on my taxes. It's a horrible feeling.
He was in denial.
And when I got those letters from the IRS, you wanted to act like they didn't exist.
Finally, Dan turned to Optima Tax Relief, the leading tax resolution firm. A-plus rated by the Better Business Bureau, they've resolved over $1 billion for their clients.
Optima got me a settlement with the IRS. These people are really people-friendly. It was every bit of a new lease on life for me.
The fast action and the great results made Dan's head spin.
I felt like I was in a dream, but it's real, and I have paperwork to prove it. They got the job done, and life is good.
For tax help you can trust, call Optima now for a free consultation.
If you're worried about what's going to happen with the IRS, stop worrying. Make the call now.
Call 800-348-0269. 800-348-0269. 800-348-0269.
Optima Tax Relief.
Testimonial from an actual client. Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
You're listening to Leaf Filter Radio, and the guru of gutter protection himself, Chris Coonahan, is here to take your most pressing leaf-related questions.
Hey, everybody. Chris here. I understand we have Ron on the line. Ron, where are you calling from?
Uh-oh. Ron, are you calling from a ladder?
Well, I was. I wanted to ask Chris what I need to do to get my gutters ready to have Leaf Filter installed.
Oh, Ron, you don't have to do anything. A Leaf Filter Trusted Pro will come out and clean out your gutters, realign and seal your gutters, and install Leaf Filter, America's #1 gutter protection system.
So I didn't need to get on this ladder?
Ron, Leaf Filter Trusted Pros are in your neighborhood and ready to help. Just visit leaffilter.com/deal to schedule your free gutter inspection and get up to 30% off.
Thank goodness. What was that site?
To get this special radio offer, go to leaffilter.com/deal for your free gutter inspection today and get up to 30% off. That's leaffilter.com/deal for up to 30% off. leaffilter.com/deal. See representative for warranty details.
Mid-America's most trusted voice for news. KMOX AM St. Louis. KMOX FM Hazelwood. Always live on the free Odyssey app.
This is CBS News on the Hour, sponsored by Progressive Insurance.
I'm Jennifer Kuiper. The Department of Defense has carried out a lethal strike on another suspected drug trafficking vessel in the Eastern Pacific. Secretary Pete Hegseth posting on social media that the vessel was known by U.S. intelligence to be involved in illicit narcotic smuggling, traveling along a known narco trafficking route, and carrying drugs. Hegseth says 4 men aboard the vessel were killed. Former Central Illinois Sheriff's Deputy Sean Grayson was charged with 3 counts of first-degree murder, but a jury has found him guilty of second-degree murder for the fatal shooting of Sonia Massey. She was shot in her home last year after calling police about a possible prowler. Massey's father, James Wilburn, after hearing the verdict.
There's a difference in this country when you have my skin color and Grayson's skin color. We need serious justice, not a miscarriage of justice that happened here in Peoria.
Grayson's lawyers say their client feared that Massey was going to throw a pot of hot water at him. His sentencing is set for January 29th. As Hurricane Melissa heads toward the central Bahamas with 90-mile-per-hour sustained winds, cleanup is underway in Jamaica, where it slammed into the island yesterday with 185-mile-per-hour winds. A trail of destruction kills dozens in Jamaica, Haiti, and Cuba. Relief agencies in the U.S. are scrambling to help. CBS's Michael Wallace.
The group American Friends of Jamaica has already raised $1 million. President Wendy Hart hopes to raise another $1 million.
That will go to immediate relief efforts and rebuilding efforts.
The Jamaica Independence Foundation is collecting donations. CEO J. Lexi Brooks.
So we're hoping to target single mothers with children who are displaced.
Greg Martin and his group Disaster Relief at Work will fly in donated supplies.
Someone after a storm might say, man, I need one thing. And then they get a kit of 17 items and they're like, actually, I need it all.
President Trump is in South Korea as he continues his Asia tour.
Ahead of a scheduled meeting with China's President Xi, President Trump announced a deal with South Korea to share highly sensitive technology that would allow the South to build its own nuclear-powered submarine. South Korea's president says his country's goal is to modernize its alliance with the U.S. and to increase military spending to reduce America's responsibilities in the region. China has nuclear-powered submarines. North Korea is building one, posing a threat to both South Korea and the United States. Linda Kenyon, CBS News, Washington.
Jurors convict a California animal rights activist for taking 4 chickens from a Purdue Farms poultry plant. Zoe Rosenberg has been found guilty of trespassing and felony conspiracy and faces more than 5 years in prison. She says she was rescuing the chickens, but prosecutors say she broke the law. This is CBS News.
Think O'Reilly Auto Parts for all your car care needs. Get the parts and service you need fast from the professional parts people at O'Reilly Auto Parts.
At 7:03, it's a cloudy sky. Right now, 51 degrees. The feels like is 45 downtown at the Arch. Leaders at Operation Food Search say charities alone can't fill the gap that's left when food stamp benefits end in a couple of days.
It's kind of hectic. We are, fielding a lot of calls, a lot of concerns, but also, thank goodness, a lot of offers for help as well.
Chief Development Officer Ellen Reed Fox tells KMOX that programs like SNAP provide 90% of all food assistance. They'll need the public's help to fill that gap, and you can do so tonight. They're holding an urgent food drive that is happening right now at City Foundry. You can drop off donations from your car by going through the roundabout at Vandeventer. That's until 8:30, so you've got another hour and a half, and they're asking for easy-to-open items like canned beans and boxed rice. A judge temporarily removed Alfred Montgomery as sheriff of the city of St. Louis ahead of his November Quo Warrento trial. Judge Stephen Omer said Montgomery being behind bars changed the landscape of the case and questioned how he can run the department while in federal custody. Sheriff's attorney David Mason says they've been talking with Montgomery daily, bringing him paperwork that he needs to sign, insisting that the system is working.
When high staff like the colonel or any of the people, human resources and so on, if we need to get his direction on something, we will go to him anyway, walk over to his office, wherever. So we're just doing it by telephone.
Presiding Judge Chris McGraw named John Hayden, the former chief of police, as the interim sheriff. Artificial intelligence was a big focus for Missouri city managers at an international conference in Tampa.
This is Stuart McMillan.
Panels and discussions, a chance to do some tours and kind of see how Tampa does things.
Festus City Administrator Greg Camp was among 80 other city officials and business people from Missouri at the International City Management Association Conference.
Very informative. It's a lot of fun and get to catch up with folks that around the country that maybe you only get to see once a year.
One of the sessions included real-world examples demonstrating how cities and counties are leveraging AI for efficiency, everyday tasks, streamlining operations, and better budgeting.
I have had a chance to sit through a couple of those since we've been here, and again through the exhibit hall talking to some of the vendors.
The Federal Reserve cut its key interest rate today. Jerome Katz, business professor at SLU, says there is some improvement in parts of the economy.
The fly in the ointment is the potential impact of tariffs and other trade deals on inflation.
Katz says most people will only notice the interest rate change if they're buying a house or a car. For those trying to pay down credit card debt, not so much. Forecast from Dave Murray for tonight, partly cloudy and cold and dry with a low 42 degrees. For tomorrow, dry and chilly. Sun's out with a high of 58. Clear and cold tomorrow, 40 overnight. For Friday, sunshine, high 60. And for Halloween night, think about temperatures in the upper 40s to low 50s and a dry evening. Right now it's 51, feels like 45 downtown at the Arch. I'm Michael Calhoun, KMOX News.
Welcome back to the Gray Bar Sports Open Line. Once again, Matt Pauley on KMOX.
Always helps turn the mic on into our second hour. It is Gray Bar Sports Open Line right here on KMOX. My name is Matt Pauley. As always, if you want to chime in, you can do so by calling, texting, tweeting. If you call or text 314-436-7900, 314-436-7900. Tweet at me at Matt Pauley on air, MattPauley on air. And you can leave a comment on the video chat as well if you happen to be watching us on Facebook, Twitter, or YouTube. The news of the day from a baseball standpoint, Derek Shelton has been hired as the Minnesota Twins manager, the former Pirates manager. I just saw something that Jeff Jones tweeted out a little while ago. He had tweeted out that if Shelton had not gotten a managerial job this year, that he could have seen a scenario where Shelton ended up working in St. Louis in some form or fashion, has ties here, knows Chaim Bloom evidently well. He and Oliver Marmol evidently are friends based off what Jeff said. So I guess in a roundabout way, there might have been a St. Louis impact. I'm going to be curious with Shelton because one of the things I always like to see is when managers are in places. Okay, let's do the Skip Schumacher thing, and it's not a total perfect analogy because Schumacher did have some success with the Miami Marlins, more success in one of his years in Miami than Shelton ever had with the Pirates. But it's one of those places where you're not expected to win, right? You're not given the resources to win in a Pittsburgh, in a Miami. And both those managers were considered to have done a very good job with what they had to work with. I do think it was time for Pittsburgh to make a change like that for the lack of success that they had under Derek Shelton and him being there so long. At some point, they needed a new voice. They got a new voice. I think Kelly did a nice job there, and he got the full-time job following the season coming to an end. But I'm always curious to see what it looks like when a guy who is considered to have done a good job at a place where it's hard/impossible to win, what it looks like when they go somewhere else. And generally, that exact description would apply to Derek Shelton. Well, here's the problem. He's going somewhere in Minnesota that gives you a little bit more of a chance to win than what you have in Pittsburgh, but not a great chance to win. That's a team that a couple of years ago was in the postseason, and then they go into the offseason just looking to slash payroll. That's not a great situation. So I don't know how much better it's going to be for him. And then the other Major League Baseball managerial news coming out today is that Albert Pujols had a, count 'em, 9.5-hour meeting with the San Diego Padres. What? I would love to have been a fly in the wall on that one. 9.5 hours. You're talking about a lot for 9.5 hours. If you're Albert Pujols and you don't get that job, it's like I had 2 interviews and the second interview was 9.5 hours. That could have been an email if you were not going to hire. That's a long, long interview. He was going to be in Southern California anyways. He is on coverage for MLB Network. He's been doing pregame stuff for the World Series tonight. But yeah, 9.5-hour meeting according to multiple reports. That's sort of the news of the day. Derek Shelton, former Pirates manager, taking over in Minnesota. And man, you would think that after a 9.5-hour meeting, at some point in time during that 9.5 hours, AJ Preller or somebody else was thinking to themselves, you know what? Pujols just isn't the guy. They could have gone ahead and just ended it right there. The old whelp, and started to stand up like the Midwest goodbye. They could have done that. They could have given the whelp. There was no whelp given, evidently, or it came 9.5 hours into the meeting. So I saw this just a few moments ago. This is what we want to talk about. This is crazy. And maybe it's not crazy when you think about it in terms of the state of Louisiana. I'm not trying to take a shot at the state of Louisiana, but it's a unique state, and they do things their own way. If you haven't heard, there's a college football coaching vacancy in the state of Louisiana that's kind of a big deal after LSU fired Brian Kelly. So the governor of Louisiana, Jeff Landry, and let me be very honest here before we go any further. I don't know a whole lot about Jeff Landry. I don't know a whole lot about the political situation in the state of Louisiana. I assume it is I don't assume, I know it is a right-leaning state. But beyond that, the exact details of it, I don't know a whole lot about it. But this is what happened today. So Jeff Landry is the governor of Louisiana. He was doing a media conference, and it was connected to everything that's going on right now with the government shutdown and state-funded assistance going away and all that sort of stuff. Somebody asked him about his role in the firing of Brian Kelly. And he did have a role. That's been well reported, that as LSU and everybody was going through the process, because there's a lot of money that's going to be owed, that is owed to Brian Kelly, that the governor of Louisiana, Jeff Landry, was in on the conversation. So Landry was asked about who's going to make the hire on the next head coach. And the athletic director at LSU is Scott Woodward. And generally, an athletic director is the primary decision maker when it comes to bringing in a new football coach. Sometimes the university president will be involved in that. Like if Eli Drinkwitz is to leave Missouri this year, Laird Veach will, the Mizzou athletic director, will be involved in that. But the administration at Mizzou, I'm sure they will have a voice as well. It's not a singular decision being made by an athletic director, but the athletic director has probably the largest voice in much of that conversation. So Landry was asked about LSU athletic director Scott Woodward and what role the AD at LSU is going to have in hiring the next football coach. This is real. I read this and it almost seems like it's something that should come from the Babylon Bee or something. The governor of Louisiana, when speaking about LSU athletic director Scott Woodward, said this. This is a quote. "I can tell you right now, Scott Woodward is not selecting the next coach. Hell, I'd let Donald Trump select the next coach before I'd let him do it." That would be like Mike Kehoe being asked about if Eli Drinkwitz were to leave Missouri. And for some reason, somebody's talking to Governor Kehoe about it. That would be like Kehoe saying, "I could tell you right now, Laird Veach is not selecting the next coach. Hell, I'd let Donald Trump select it before I let him do it." Like, this is real life. If I'm Woodward, I don't want that job anymore. And I know that's really easy for a guy hosting a sports radio show in St. Louis, Missouri to say, and there's not a whole lot of Power 4 athletic director jobs available. But if I'm taking strays from the governor and the governor is telling me that I cannot do my job, that's an issue. I guess Landry also, so this press conference that, again, was supposed to be about SNAP benefits and government shutdown and all that sort of stuff, it just absolutely devolved into a football conversation. So that's all the governor really wanted to talk about, evidently, today in Louisiana. Said, quote, we're not going down a failed path. This is a pattern that got us here. The guy talking about Woodward that wrote that contract cost Texas A&M $77 million. Right now, we've got a $53 million liability. We're not doing that again. What that was in reference to is Woodward was the AD at Texas A&M who signed Jimbo Fisher to a 10-year, $75 million contract in 2017. However, that contract was then extended by his successor at Texas A&M. That should be clear. That turned into a 10-year, $95 million contract. And then Fisher was fired in 2023 and had $77 fully guaranteed $1 million left on his contract at that point in time. But this is just wild. This is wild that this has happened, that the governor of Louisiana is talking this way about an athletic director at a university. And I am speaking here on this topic, admittedly, with a lack of depth of real information on it. Like, I don't know the dynamic between the governor and the university and all of that. I don't. And maybe I should learn a little bit more about that before talking about it. But I just saw this just moments ago, and I could not believe when I see the governor of Louisiana talking that way. But, you know, in most states, especially in most SEC states, the highest paid government employee ends up being the football coach. And football runs so much. Like football is overly important. And I'm not saying it's not important. It's just, we're at a place right now. We're seeing sports and politics, and this is not a political show. I'm not trying to go down that path right now, but we see sports and politics colliding more and more and more and more. Like the other day, there was a fake tweet that was sent out. Or what's the social media platform that Trump's on? I don't even know what it's called. The one that he created. Somebody had created basically a fake social media post from him where it said that he was not going to invite the Dodgers or the Blue Jays to the White House, no matter who ended up winning. It was totally fake. It wasn't true. He didn't say that. But it was believable, right? Like you see that and it's believable, and more we're seeing the intersection of sports and politics, and these coaching searches go along with it, because when you've got a government employee that you've got to pay $50 million for them to go away, that has to be something that crosses the desk of somebody in government at some point in time. And a lot of these coaches, most of these athletic departments now are their own corporations. They're independent totally of the university and the money that's coming in, but it's not, there's still a little bit of a connection in all of that. A quick update, by the way, a wild start to the World Series. It is currently in the top of the first inning, and the Toronto Blue Jays are leading this game by a 2-0 score on back-to-back home runs to start the game. The first batter of the game was Davis Schneider. He hit a home run, and then a moment later, Vladimir Guerrero Jr. hit a home run against Blake Snell, and it's just not going overly well for Snell here at the moment. They are out of the top of the first inning, but the Blue Jays do lead by a 2-0 score. So if the Blue Jays were to win tonight, that would allow them to take a 3-2 series lead back to Toronto for Game 6 and 7 if needed. But they very, very, very good start here for the Toronto Blue Jays against the Dodgers. Coming up in just a moment or so, we are going to hear from Jim Montgomery. He is the Blues coach. He spoke with the media earlier today. I thought he had some really interesting things to say. We'll hear that coming up. And then later on, we are going to hear from Kansas City Chiefs quarterback Patrick Mahomes, the weekly conversation he does with our sister station, 96.5 The Fan in Kansas City. That's all coming up here on KMOX.
Hey, Illinois. This is Ben Barnett, board-certified master arborist and owner at Timberline Professional Tree Care. Sorry, St. Louis, this message is for our friends in the Metro East. Did you know that most Missouri-based tree contractors can't legally travel into Illinois? This is due to federal motor carrier regulations that require large trucks and their drivers to be registered with the Federal Motor Carrier Safety Administration in order to travel across state lines. Almost all other tree services in Missouri fail to meet the requirements for safety, drug and alcohol testing, and equipment maintenance that are required for interstate travel. Here at Timberline, we meet and exceed all of these requirements and will be glad to travel across the river to meet all of your tree care needs. Call us today at 636-479-7475 for tree fertilization, pruning, insect and disease treatment, or complete removal. Or visit our website at stltreecare.com. That's stltreecare.com for service in the Metro East area.
Have you recently lost a loved one and now you're handling their estate? Losing someone close to you is never easy, and if you've been named the executor or trustee, it's an honor, but you're probably feeling the weight of both grief and responsibility. At Jansky Law, they understand how overwhelming this process can be. Whether you're dealing with probate or trust administration, there are many legal steps involved, and in Missouri, an attorney is required for all probate matters. Even with a trust, the process is just as complex. Jansky Law is there to do the steps for you. With decades of experience, let them handle things with compassion and precision so you can focus on what really matters, your family and healing. Call Jansky Law at 314-881-6141 or online at janskylaw.com. That's spelled with a J, Jansky law.com. Jansky law.com. Jansky Law. The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisement.
At California Psychics, we know that when you haven't found love, it feels like everyone else has. Every movie has a love interest. Every song is a love song. Where are all the songs about cats or the joy of early bedtimes? And of course, the PDA. Looking for love sucks. Thankfully, California Psychics can give you the guidance you need to help you find the one. We connect you with the very best. In fact, 98% of the psychics who apply to work with us don't make the grade. That's why we can guarantee if your reading isn't life-changing, it's free. Download the app or connect with us at californiapsychics.com. Right now, new customers receive 20 minutes for just $20. So, you could be feeling all lovey-dovey real soon. Experience the joy of certainty. California Psychics.
It's the most inspiring night in sports, the Musial Awards at Stiefel Theater. You can be in the audience for this nationally televised event from St. Louis. Named for Stan the Man, the Musial Awards celebrate those who uplift us through their extraordinary sportsmanship. Experience the remarkable moments and people that make this an event like no other. The Musial Awards, presented by Maryville University, Saturday, November 22nd. Tickets at musialawards.com.
You know Graybar for electrical parts, but there's one more thing you may not be thinking of us for that can help maximize your next project's total value. Our pre-project planning services are designed to help you win the bid, save on labor costs, and keep your installers productive across your entire build. The sooner you call us, the better, because when we're there from the beginning, we can anticipate your needs and help you solve problems before they become problems. Yep, Graybar does that.
Welcome back to the Graybar Sports Open Line. Once again, Matt Pauley on KMOX.
Welcome back in. It's the Graybar Sports Open Line right here on KMOX. My name is Matt Pauley as we continue to take you until 8 o'clock this evening. While the struggles, they are absolutely continuing for the St. Louis Blues. They have lost 5 straight games. They lose yesterday to the Red Wings by a 5-2 score. They're going to get back at it coming up tomorrow night when they match up against the Vancouver Canucks. Blues head coach Jim Montgomery met with the media today, and the Blues also announced earlier today that they are bringing up forward Dalibor Dvorsky from Springfield. He has played in 6 games for the Thunderbirds this season, leading the team with 3 goals, has 5 points overall, and somebody who certainly has a very, very bright NHL future. So an exciting moment for him as it looks like he's going to be given a real opportunity here moving forward. We'll see what happens when Robert Thomas is back, but this certainly feels like an opportunity for Dvorsky to get here and make an impact. And when Montgomery spoke with the media today, let's actually start with Robert Thomas. He gave a bit of an update on him.
Doing better, is on the mend.
taking the steps to be a player again, but doubtful for tomorrow.
So Thomas not available tomorrow. So when we go to what that means for Dvorsky and what he's going to bring to this team, Montgomery is very excited about what that might look like.
You know, when you first get in the NHL, you realize how grateful you are to be in the NHL. You're in the best league in the world. Everything is the best. The way you get treated, the Enterprise Center is full. You're playing in front of electric fans. You're playing against the best players in the world. So the natural energy that a young player brings energy to the group. And then if we're looking specifically at the player, his offensive skill set and his shot that can beat a goalie at any level from distance is something that is always beneficial to have in your lineup.
Will you implement him in the lineup right away? Or?
He's playing tomorrow night. And he's going to be on the power play tomorrow night.
Is he a center wing?
He's going to be a center.
Montgomery does admit that Thomas's injury does contribute to the motivation to bring up Dvorsky and also to be playing him at center.
Well, it factors into it for sure because, you know, there's an offensive element that we're missing that we usually have that, you know, so he can supply that. Now, it's a complete team effort by all our centers and who ends up low to replace what he does for us offensively and defensively combined. It's not just on the young man.
Centers in the Blues system are asked to do a lot. Sometimes it's a bit more complicated than some other systems out there. And Montgomery did say that as Dvorsky gets here, it might take a little bit of time for him to acclimate to being a center in the system.
Well, you got to get the repetitions, you know, like there's patterns in the game of hockey, even though it's a fluid game, there's patterns that happen. And the more you see the patterns, the more muscle memory and your brain sees it, and the quicker you play. So, yeah, you do need the reps, but we also have players, defensemen and other wingers that can help him. You know, he doesn't have to be the low forward every time.
All that being said, a couple very important things when it comes to the Blues right now and getting production and hoping to get some production from Dvorsky. Montgomery says that he really comes in playing very good hockey.
That he's been very effective on the power play. And that these last 3 games have been his best 3 games that he's played. So he's feeling good about himself. He's making plays. He's scoring goals. He's doing the things, and that's why he's the guy that's called up.
And we can talk all we want about his shot and what he's going to do and limitations and being young and like anything that you want to throw from a negative standpoint. Maybe the biggest positive here is Dvorsky with his shot. He can absolutely score at any level.
It's definitely something that he can provide because that's the strength of his game. If you just look at him offensively, his release, his shot, to be able to beat people with a one-timer or snapshot is something that's the best part of his offensive game.
A few more things from Jim Montgomery. Again, the Blues losing yesterday, and they've got a record of 3-6-1. I thought this was really good. Of everything he said today, this was most interesting to me. He was asked, sometimes as a team, you might have some bad luck. You might look at your record and say, you know what? We've played better than the record would indicate. Sometimes it works the other way, too. Sometimes you look at your record and you say, we probably don't deserve that record. Well, the Blues, 3-6-1, obviously not very good. Montgomery was asked if he felt like their record represents who they are and the way they've played this year, and I thought his answer was really, really interesting.
I think it's fair. I don't think our process has been good. You know, we're not defending the good ice. We're giving up too many grade A opportunities. We're not giving up a lot, but the ones we give up are like 5-bell chances. Like Albert Pujols is staring at a softball, and he's knocking it out of the park. We got to stop that. The other part is game management. We're not managing games, and it doesn't matter the situation. It could be in the offensive zone. We're not managing the puck well enough. It could be in the neutral zone. You know, our support isn't where it should be. It could be pulled goalie situation. We're trying to make rink-wide passes instead of gaining the red line and rimming it in. Those are game management situations that we have to be more prudent in to give ourselves opportunities, and it doesn't matter the situation. The other night in Pittsburgh, we're delayed penalty, 5v6. It looked like we had never played that situation before. You know, those are guys having to take a breath, protect the middle of the ice, and then run your routes properly so that you kill plays and whatever, or make plays.
From an offensive standpoint, the Blues are not scoring enough goals, but that doesn't seem to be the biggest issue on the team. But every night, it feels like there's a goal or two that's left on the table. Sometimes there's some opportunities right in front of the net that they are unable to convert. And Montgomery spent some time talking about what they need to do to be able to start converting those type of goals.
That comes into two areas. Puck from behind the net has been an issue for us. And just having more patience, one guy going, not two. And then the other area is coming in the D zone, stopping in good ice. It's something that this comes down to coaching, and it comes down to us harping on the details and the players executing it. So those are areas that maybe we haven't done a good enough job harping on. I know we have started harping on it quite a bit. But then you look into the, players wanting to do too much because they want to be difference makers, and they don't stop, they run. And that exposes the good ice. And we just got to trust everybody do their job.
We can talk all we want about what they're doing from an offensive standpoint. The struggles here are coming from a defensive standpoint. As every single regulation loss that they have this year, they have lost by at least 3 goals. Their last 4 games, they've given up 5, 6, 6, and 7 goals respectively. They are just giving up a ton of goals. So it shouldn't surprise you too much when Montgomery says that the team's struggles right now are really based off what they're doing defensively.
I don't think offensively is the issue for us. We're 29th in shots for, but when you look at analytics, we're in the top 10 offensively of slot shots and creating high danger chances. So that's not, our focus is on the other area. The other area, we're like 5th in shots against, but yet, like I said, we're not protecting the good ice. So if we protect the good ice and we continue to get the same offense, we're going to win hockey games. We just got to get better without the puck.
So that presents the question, how do you get better defensively? Montgomery's got a lot of confidence that they can get better and they can get back to being the team that they expected to be pretty quickly.
It's something you get back real quick, Now, as a staff, we got to do a better job of hammering on the details of it, stopping at the house, protecting the good ice, protecting middle ice, protecting the net front. Those are things as a staff we got to help give those players so that they play faster within that structure and have confidence in it.
Good stuff from Blues head coach Jim Montgomery speaking to the media earlier today. Again, the Blues will try to end their 5-game losing streak tomorrow night. They are going to be at home at the Enterprise Center against the Vancouver Canucks. We will take a break. We'll come back and we'll hear from Chiefs quarterback Patrick Mahomes, his weekly conversation that he does with our sister station in Kansas City. We'll hear that coming up in just a few moments as we roll on with the Gray Bar Sports Open Line on KMOX.
Think back to the holiday season last year. You're surrounded by your family. It's been months since everyone has been together like this. Everyone is talking and catching up, sharing stories and laughing, and your grandson is real quick-witted. He cracks a joke and everyone seems to laugh. But you missed it. How does that make you feel? Do you start to disengage? Do you feel disconnected from the group? I'm Dr. Colleen Bosler, and I don't want this to happen to you this holiday season. Come visit Dr. Adam Voss and me at the Audiology Center for our Here for the Holidays event happening in the month of October. We're offering free hearing screenings, free earwax removals, free consultations, and a $500 coupon towards the latest hearing aids. Call us today to make an appointment for this special event through the month of October. 636-441-7470 or visit us online at theaudiologycenterstl.com.
Looking for your dream home in Wentzville? Welcome to Sutton Farms by Lombardo Homes, where community and comfort come together. Enjoy resort-style living with a private clubhouse, indoor courts, a splash pad, sand volleyball, walking trails, and even a dog park. Choose from our newest Parkside series or design your own custom home in our nature or traditional series, all within the top-rated Wentzville School District. Discover the perfect blend of small-town charm and modern convenience at Sutton Farms, located off Piney Road in Wentzville. Visit lombardohomes.com to learn more.
Thank you, Missouri, for making Genesis of St. Charles your #1 and most trusted Genesis dealer for 2025. Thrilling offers for an unforgettable season are now here at Genesis of St. Charles. For a limited time only, get 0% APR for up to 60 months on all new Genesis models. You don't want to miss this one. These offers absolutely end October 31st. Visit genesisofstcharles.com today. Based on GMA sales records for 2024 on approved credit for Genesis Finance. See dealer for details.
This special alert is for all Americans who own a vehicle. If you have a warranty that's about to expire or no warranty coverage at all, this message is for you. It's time to stop worrying about future car repairs today. Your vehicle is essential, but unexpected breakdowns can derail your plans and your wallet. It's time to future-proof your ride with CarShield. CarShield offers a low-cost month-to-month vehicle protection plan that saves drivers thousands from out-of-pocket expenses on future auto repairs. Imagine if your engine quits or your transmission fails. You could pay a fraction of the repair cost. This protection plan is at an all-time low, and to give you even more peace of mind, drivers who activate today also receive free roadside assistance, free towing, and car rental options at no additional cost. Don't wait for a breakdown to drain your savings. Future-proof your car with CarShield today and drive with confidence. Call CarShield for your free quick quote. Call 800-908-8646. That's 800-908-8646. What do you have to lose? Call 800-908-8646. That's 800-908-8646. Again, 800-908-8646.
Don't get lulled into believing the IRS is getting soft. It's just the opposite. Hi, this is Lance Story with the Lance Story Law Firm. We are being told by IRS collection officers that their higher-ups are demanding that they get more aggressive than ever. So don't ignore them any longer. Level up. If you have unfiled returns, unpaid taxes, levies, or liens, call the Lance Story Law Firm today and let us get between you and the IRS. We'll protect your rights, including your right to appeal or even your right to take the IRS to tax court. Remember, IRS problems are legal problems, and they need to be handled by an expert attorney team who's done it for decades. So call the Lance Story Law Firm today. We're local. Our office is right here in St. Louis, or visit Lance, D-R-U-R-Y, law.com to schedule your free consultation with your local tax resolution law firm, the Lance Story Law Firm, 314-260-6120.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements.
Welcome back to the Gray Bar Sports Open Line. Once again, Matt Pauley on KMOX.
It's the Gray Bar Sports Open Line right here on KMOX, continuing to take you till 8 o'clock this evening. The Kansas City Chiefs, they got another win this past week. They knocked off the Washington Commanders 28-7. They have now won 3 in a row and 5 of their last 6, and they've got a huge game their next time out as they are going to match up against the Buffalo Bills. That's going to be coming up on Sunday afternoon, a 3:25 kickoff. You can hear it right here on KMOX. It is time to listen in to our weekly conversation that Chiefs quarterback Patrick Mahomes has with Carrington Harrison at our sister station, 96.5 The Fan in Kansas City. And as Carrington Harrison opened up the conversation day with Mahomes, as they generally do, they start off with a lighter topic, talking about how the Mahomes family handles trick-or-treaters on Halloween.
Yeah, I mean, for most of the time we are the trick-or-treating, just with the kids and stuff like that. So while we're doing that, we usually put the bowl of candy out on the front patio or the front porch, whatever you want to call it. And so that's how we usually roll with it. And the amount of time we get home, it's usually all gone. So I don't know if that's one person taking it all or if that's a lot of people coming by the house.
What kind of candy are you guys divvying out? Are you guys getting like king-size candy bars? Are you getting like those little variety packs and just, hey, you can grab a handful of it? How are you guys handling giving out the candy?
It's a mixture of both. You know, we do the variety packs, but we also do some of the king-size stuff as well. And so I want everybody to have a good time, and I want everybody to get everything they want. So I try to keep it mixing it up every year and as many options as possible.
All right, so I have 6 candies that I want to go through with you really quickly. I want you to tell me if you would give these candies a thumbs up or a thumbs down and why you feel that way. Let's start with gummy bears. Where are you at?
Yeah, I can do gummy bears. Just depends, you know. But it's not my favorite, but I can do it for sure.
All right, where are you at with a York peppermint patty?
That's a thumbs down for me. I'm not a big peppermint fan.
How about Whoppers? You know, those like little chocolate milk balls. I like them, but they're very controversial. Thumbs up or thumbs down?
Yeah, if it's the only option I had, I'd give it a thumbs up.
Candy corn.
Definitely. I actually had this discussion the other day with some guys. It's like only Halloween once or twice, thumbs up. Rest of the year, thumbs down.
All right, 2 final candies here. First up, lemon heads.
That's a thumbs down for me.
Last one, yellow starburst.
Yellow star. I mean, you got to eat the yellow starburst to appreciate the red and the pink. So I mean, you got to eat the yellow and the orange. So got to give it a thumbs up. It's not as good as the other ones, but it plays its part.
Right now, we're talking to the quarterback of the Kansas City Chiefs, Patrick Mahomes. Let's take a look back really quickly before we move on to you guys' game on Sunday against the Bills. You guys started this homestand under 500 with the very important Sunday Night Football game against the Lions. You guys had an incredible homestand. You guys outscored your opponents 89-24. What are you most proud of? What was the most impressive for you, given how you guys played this homestand?
Yeah, I think it's just the progression of getting better and better, offense and defense and special teams. Everybody has got better while we were at home, and we had Arrowhead on our side, and so we have to continue that. You know, we played some good football teams, and we've gotten better as the season's gone on, but we're going to have a nice stretch of games starting off with Buffalo, and it's going to be a tough environment. So we got to continue to get better and try to find a way to win this game in a tough environment.
One thing that you told me a couple of weeks ago when we were having a conversation was about the wide receiver room and how much guys really like each other. I've been really paying attention to that, and you can just get a sense of it, man. Guys really like playing for each other. Guys like seeing other guys have success. It feels like the camaraderie is very high right now amongst the team. It feels like the chemistry and confidence is also very high amongst the team as well.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I think it speaks to just the culture that we've kind of built here, and guys like each other, and they want to go out there and win, and they want everybody to succeed. And so that's not going to happen every single game. Not everybody's going to get all the catches or all the yards or whatever it is. But I think if you just play your part and you get yourself open whenever you get the opportunities, the football's going to come your way, and then you'll be able to go out there and make an impact in the game.
You can't really call anything automatic, but it feels like Kareem Hunt on 3rd and short or 4th and short, it's become almost as automatic as anything in the league right now.
Yeah, no, he's doing a great job, man. I mean, he does a great job of finding the soft spots in the run and getting through there and getting the yards. You know, that's not an easy thing to do, and I think it's a weapon that we have is having him in those situations. And the offensive line's doing a great job giving him space to run with.
I also feel like that's just changed some of the philosophy amongst the team. One thing we were talking about on the show yesterday was, you guys had 4th and 1 from your side of the field. I feel like in years past, you guys potentially punt in that situation. It didn't feel like there was any hesitation. It felt like everybody had a lot of confidence in that offensive line and also Kareem to pick up the 1 or 2 yards.
100%, and I said this after the game. I mean, it's confidence in Kareem and the offensive line, and it's also confidence in our defense that they're going to get stops if it doesn't work out. And so I think it speaks to the confidence of the entire team the coaches have in us, is that we're going to go out there and make it happen. And if the slight chance that we don't, the defense is going to get the stop and get the ball right back to us.
Right now, we're talking to the quarterback of the Kansas City Chiefs, Patrick Mahomes. I got to ask you about Travis. He ties the record. Very special moment at Arrowhead. How cool is it to see him have that moment? And you talk about the hard work that guys put in. This is the guy that's been doing it for a decade now. 100%,
man. I mean, he comes to work every single day with the right attitude, and one of the main leaders, if not the leader, of this football team. And he's a guy that practices harder than anybody. Has a smile on his face, keeping guys motivated and ready to go. And so he's deserving of having these type of records broken, and that comes with the work that he puts in every single day.
Let's move ahead to Sunday's matchup against the Buffalo Bills. This is the 10th time that you guys will have played the Bills. It just feels like every year this game always means a whole lot. It's always really important, and it usually feels like it's around this time in the calendar.
Yeah, it is. It's always like late October, early November when we play, and it's kind of the season's rolling, and you know where everybody's kind of at in the standings and everything like that. And so we know it's going to take our best effort. I think that's what I've learned about every single matchup that we have is it always comes down to the end, and it's two great football teams going up against each other, and it's going to be one play here or there. It's going to change the outcome. And so it's just about making those plays, staying motivated, staying up to the task, and going out there and playing your best football at the right time and making those big plays in the big moments.
I'm sure you've heard this comparison a million times, but, you and I are from the same era of watching football. Every year you circled Brady against Manning, and you knew whether it was Patriots-Colts or Patriots-Broncos, you knew how important that matchup was going to be. How cool is it to kind of grow up watching that rivalry and now essentially be in the middle of your own version of that?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's really cool just being able to be in these big games and playing against the best of the best at quarterback and at teams. And so, I mean, it speaks to the work that both organizations have put in every single year to be in these big games year after year. And I think it just it speaks to the people that are in each building. So it's been a lot of fun, man. I mean, go up and playing in these big football games against these top-tier quarterbacks, and having a friendship with Josh as well. It's cool to be able to go up there and know that he's gonna play his best football in the big moments, and I plan on trying to do the same.
Yeah, I was just going to ask you that. What's the relationship like between you and Josh? Because it appears you guys are very friendly, but there's also a rivalry there. You want to beat him, he wants to beat you. What's the relationship like? What's the rivalry like between you and Josh Allen?
Yeah, I think off the field, I respect the way he plays the game and the way he handles himself, and so I think off the field we kind of have similarities as far as being interested in golf and being interested in just being around our family and competing and just being good people, and so I think that kind of tends itself to have a friendship as far as golf and stuff like that, but. I know just like me, he's as competitive as ever. So when we get on the football field, it's all about going out there and finding a way to win for the football team. And so it's definitely a friendship that on game days there's not a lot of talking. It's about going out there and competing.
We've talked about this before. You're a part of a big three with you, Josh Allen, and Lamar Jackson. It feels like you guys push each other. You got a couple of MVPs. Lamar has a couple of MVPs. Josh Allen has an MVP. It feels like you guys really push each other to bring the best out of one another.
Yeah, I think that's just the quarterback position these days. There's so many great quarterbacks. You see it every Sunday of all the guys that are around the league making plays happen, and you want to push yourself to be even better. And if you don't, you're going to get passed up by these other guys, and it takes your best effort every single week. And so, Josh and Lamar have kind of been those guys that have pushed me every step of the way, being here the longest, kind of with me. But at the same time, man, these young guys are coming hungry as ever. So it's going to take all of us to keep playing our best football to try to stay on top.
I think a lot of people, if you ask them, what's their memory from this rivalry, a lot of people would say the 13-second game at Arrowhead. When I think of this rivalry, I think of when you guys went on the road in the playoffs a couple of years ago. Up to that point, you hadn't played a road playoff game. There were those conversations of what is this team going to look like. You guys go on the road and you get the tough win, and then it's that image of you running off the field, and fans are just throwing snowballs at you.
Yeah, no, the fan bases are passionate for sure. I think it's for me, I like that one more just because we won the Super Bowl that year. In the 13-second game, we lose the next game. So I think it's been a lot of great games, and even the games that we've lost have come down to the very end. And I think it's a great rivalry, and we just go out there and know, like I said, take our best football, and you're gonna have memories after the games. Hopefully, they're good ones.
You just mentioned it. Where would you kind of rank the fan? I don't know if animosity is the correct term, but certainly you're not very popular there for understandable reasons. Where does it kind of rank with some of the other visiting stadiums you go into?
No, it's up there. They definitely don't like me or the Kansas City Chiefs. But, I love it. I love that, they're that passionate about their fans, their team, and that's what you want in sports, man. And you want to keep it hostile, but at the same time safe. But at the same time, you want it to be a great environment and a great atmosphere. And going up to Buffalo, you're going to get a great one. And now it's about going out there and kind of bonding together with your teammates and going out there and trying to find a way to win.
Last two things here. Kansas City, they love their tailgating. I don't know if anybody loves tailgating more than Buffalo. You got to be on a different level to try to pile drive somebody through a table.
Yeah, I've never tried to do it, and I don't plan on it, but it looks like it's fun for those guys. So, they can keep doing it. It's part of their tradition.
And last thing here, you were a baseball guy. We had an 18-inning baseball game. What's the longest baseball game you've been in?
Man, I couldn't even tell you, but 18's a lot of innings. I try to stay up after the game. I got my adrenaline pumping, and I get after the game. It's the 9th inning, and I turn it on, and I'm watching it kind of in the locker room, and then all of a sudden I go home, and it's the 11th inning, and I stayed up to I was mad. I stayed up to 1-something in the morning to the 17th inning and just passed out, fell asleep. And, of course, Freddie Freeman hits a walk-off in the 18th. So I missed the walk-off even though I tried to stay up for it. But it's been a great series, 2-2, and they're still in L.A., and then they'll have to go back to Toronto. It's been a great series to watch.
That is the quarterback of the Kansas City Chiefs, Patrick Mahomes, joining us on the show today as we get you ready for one of the most anticipated games of the regular season, the Chiefs and the Bills. Patrick, great luck, man. We'll catch up with you after the bye week.
Yeah, appreciate you.
That was Patrick Mahomes talking with our sister station, 96.5 The Fan in Kansas City, the weekly conversation with the Chiefs quarterback that we're able to play for you. Again, the Chiefs and the Bills this Sunday, huge game. That could be a preview of the AFC Championship, 3:25 at kickoff right here on KMOX. We will take another break. We'll come back. We'll wrap up the program. You are locked in to a Graybar Sports Open Line on KMOX.
The DGS Halloween show is back, and you can hear it first on Friday, October 31st, starting at 4 p.m. Hear all about their ghost hunting experience and all the thrills and chills the show experienced this year. And to check out the ghost adventures from the past 20 years, head to KMOX.com/Halloween. The DGS Halloween show, presented by Lore Wine and Spirits. Try Ghost Tequila today, the perfect spicy spirit to bring your Halloween celebrations to the next level.
For residential and commercial heating repairs, service, maintenance, or installation, contact Air Comfort Service Heating, Cooling, and Installation. With over 50 years of HVAC service, get in your comfort zone this winter. Visit aircomfortservice.com. That's aircomfortservice.com.
I'm Ed Evans, CEO of Consumer Cellular. Ever wonder why Big Wireless wants you on an unlimited plan? They probably want you to cover the cost of those 20-somethings using all that data every month. But most people 50 and up like me only use 12 gigs or less. Don't get bamboozled by Big Wireless. Switch to Consumer Cellular. Our plans start at just $20, and we use the same towers as the big guys. Join the millions who choose something better, because if you're not using all that data, you're probably getting used.
Call 1-888-FREEDOM, visit consumercellular.com/fax or a store near you. Plans include $5 credit for auto pay and e-billing. See site for additional facts.
Hey, this is Charlie Brennan. Have you noticed loose bricks or missing mortar around your house? On the walls, the patios, the walkways, the porch, or the chimneys? If so, you need to call Morelli Tuck Pointing. 314-645-1387. You might need one of two things: solid tuck pointing, the removal of old mortar with the replacement of new mortar throughout an entire wall or chimney, or maybe just spot tuck pointing. Spot tuck pointing involves the tuck pointing of a particular wall, a chimney, or other masonry surface in an area where it's needed the most. One example might be settlement cracks, usually found above or below windows or doorways. 314-645-1387. Call the company that the Brennans have called when we've needed tuck pointing. Morelli Tuck Pointing, the masonry specialists. Winner of the Angie's List Super Service Award every year since 2005. 314-645-1387, MorelliTuckPointing.com.
You've got your whole life ahead of you, so choose a Medicare plan you can count on. And that's what you get with a Medicare Advantage plan from United Healthcare. With more than 45 years' experience serving its members, United Healthcare has plans with low monthly premiums that fit your life today and as your needs change tomorrow. The Medicare annual enrollment period ends December 7th, so go to uhc.com/Medicare today. United Healthcare Medicare plans. It's Medicare coverage Missouri can count on.
Welcome back to the Gray Bar Sports Open Line. Once again, Matt Pauley on KMOX.
Back in for just a couple more minutes here on a Gray Bar Sports Open Line on KMOX, wrapping things up for the night. We do have a short show tomorrow. We're going to be done early for Thursday night football. The Thursday night matchup coming up tomorrow evening is going to be the Baltimore Ravens in Miami to take on the Dolphins. Wanted to mention this very quickly. We had Chaim Bloom on this past Sunday, as he is always on Sports on a Sunday morning. He'll be back on with Tom coming up this Sunday, but it gained a little bit of traction from a news standpoint about what he had to say about the timeline for Lars Nootbaar returning from the injury. He had the surgery to alleviate some of the pain in his heels. Well, advancing that story, Derek Gould wrote about it in the Post-Dispatch and at STL Today, and he talked to Nootbaar, and I would encourage you to read the story. But just sort of an update on where this whole thing is at. I thought it was interesting. Nootbaar was a little bit surprised by the fact that he needed surgery after he went to New York to meet with a doctor. And also, this is where it's a little bit frustrating because it really was not talked about at all that Nootbaar was dealing with pain in his feet, pain in his heels. And Nootbaar told Derek Gould that he had been dealing with this for a while and didn't really know what it was, but it was impacting his ability to do things. So from an athletic standpoint, I think we all know it all starts in the lower body, and it starts in the feet. So if you've got pain in your feet, if your feet are not allowing you to do things, that's going to transfer to your entire body. I'm not going to sit here and I was very disappointed with Lars Nootbaar's performance this year. Could have it been impacted by this pain in the feet all year long or through the second half of the season, however long? Yeah, it could have been. Could have it not been? Could have this just kind of been who Nootbaar is? I want to make it clear, I'm not sitting here making an excuse for him. I'm not sitting here and saying this is why the season went the way that it went. But I do think we need to present it as a possibility because as much people don't like to hear about StatCast numbers and all those sort of things, Nootbaar still does some things, has some abilities where if he ever puts it all together, he can be a big-time dynamic baseball player. And where we have discussed the idea of trading Lars Nootbaar, and before this surgery and everything, I honestly thought that Nootbaar was likely to get moved. Now I don't think he is. I think he's likely with the team when spring training gets underway and when the season gets started. But if, it's a big if, and he's dealt with so many different injuries, there's no guarantee on anything. But if it was the foot issue, the heels, that really impacted him from a negative standpoint this year, and some of those advanced numbers, some of those StatCast numbers that we talk about, they actually fell back a little bit this year. If that could be attributed to the feet, it's a reason to have at least a sliver of hope that things could look better for Nootbaar moving forward. Because, again, based off what Nootbaar said to Derek Gould, and I encourage you to read it in the Post-Dispatch and at stltoday.com, this is something that he's been dealing with for a while, been working with trainers, and then finally he went and saw a doctor, and that's when they had the surgery. He's evidently, rehab's going well. He's using crutches to walk right now, but it sounds like things are going well for him, and all we can do is sit back and wait and see how this might impact him moving forward. That's it for the show. This is a fun show tonight. Thank you so much for being tuned in. Again, short show tomorrow. We'll do Rush Hour Sports during the 5 o'clock hour, and then I'll have you for a half hour after that, leading into Thursday Night Football. Have a great rest of your Wednesday night. We'll talk to you again tomorrow. This has been a Graybar Sports Open Line on KMOX.
Stock up with big fall savings at Menards. Winterize with RV and Marine antifreeze and automotive antifreeze on sale now. Save big on an